me, Sean Capri, and welcome to We the GamerCast that publishes most Mondays here at youtube.com/Carpool Gaming and podcast services around the world. Thank you so much for being here, for telling your mom, and for telling everyone you know about the show, you guys. First show of 2023. What the heck? We're already a couple weeks into this. Where have I been? Where have I owe an apology and an explanation. But first, in case you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. And if you want to be on the show, just tweet at me at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. The show's been away for a little bit. And I have to tell you guys a little something about this, okay? I was going to leave this to the end. When I was originally kind of thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, but how can I start a show, the first one of 2023? I'm so excited that Brendan Myers is going to be on the show today, and you guys are going to hear from him. And we're going to talk about, do mattresses float? Could you use a mattress to save yourself from the Titanic? I think some of you already know the answer, but guess what? We're going to discuss it today. And so I want to be excited. I want to launch into it with all the excitement that We the GamerCast has. We got a great conversation coming with you. I've recorded this a little while ago. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe before I go ahead and do this, I want to let you know, how you can help support the show, and also thank everybody at patreon.com/carpool gaming, especially our ultimate producers like Robby Bobby Miller over at twitch.tv/Robby Bobby Miller, Trucker Sloth, Tony Baker from Quest for Pixels at youtube.com/quest4pixels, Johnathan Brown with his new album, Video Game Boy. It's on Apple Music and Spotify. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. That's the team that I play on. That's the team you should play on. That's what I think I saw Skinny Matt sign up already. Holy crap. Goodness gracious. So join our team. All the links are in the show notes. Support these ultimate producers. Our platinum producers, Marcus McCracken and RJ Kern, and our gold members, Anna, Cecily Carrozza, Dallas Robbins, Drellish, Foolish Fuji, Emily O'Kelly, Jonas Young, Jose Jimenez, Marcos O'Neill, and welcome back to Tim Paulin. Welcome back to gold member status, Mr. Tim Paulin. And also, thank you to Savoy Prime, and also welcome to Brian. Hey, guys, coming back to the Patreon. Thank you so much. Making dreams happen. Now, okay, all the things. I watched Top Gun last night, and I'm not going to get too much into this. The new Top Gun, I feel like when you watch or play something that's out of, that isn't the latest thing, you kind of owe an explanation, but that's basically going to be me in 2023. Okay, we should just get over it. I don't know that, I don't know if it's going to be the latest, greatest thing. The last episode you would have heard here on the feed on We the GamerCast was with Drellish back at the end of December, and what a conversation. I've been thinking about that pretty much every single day. What does it mean for me? What does it mean for content? What does it mean for the shows? What does it mean for Carpool Gaming? And that actually has a lot to do with why this show hasn't aired since then. I was planning on taking a break. You would have heard our Game of the Year conversation with the rest of the Carpool Gaming crew, which was good. But man, gotta be honest with you guys, just a little overwhelmed. And I don't expect any sympathy or pity or anything like this. I'm just trying to figure things out right now. And it's not like I'm doing more. I don't know where it's coming from. But sometimes lately, it just seems like when I'm sitting down to do, and it's not just content, it's basically everything, which is really the issue. I just feeling a little overwhelmed. So trying to figure out what the heck to do with that and still be here for everyone. There's expectations, there's a history, there's momentum and stuff. So I'm just kind of sorting through some stuff, I would say, but I am excited that The Last of Us is, as I record this, it's airing tonight, and we're going to be talking about it there in the Discord. So please join the Discord. The links are in the show notes. A lot of friendly people. The Discord is popping off lately, you guys. It has been incredible. People are coming on in, and the welcome chat, holy crap, it is absolutely incredible. And not to make people feel like maybe they missed out on something, but if you know, you know. But we launched, thanks to Marcus O'Neill and Nagachaka and Matt Sawinski from the PlayStation Drive, we launched our Fantasy Critic Leagues 2. That's plural. We got League A and League B because so many of you were interested in this. And I don't know, man, between that and there's leaderboards that are happening in the PlayStation Drive and the Xbox Drive thing. They're tracking your trophies and your achievements and everything. This weekend is actually very uplifting for me here at Carpool. And I'm sure I can't really speak on anybody else's behalf over at Carpool Gaming, but I imagine this is the case. The community just came and showed up this weekend, and it's very gratifying to see. I don't know that I've seen any other video game podcasts like groups or anything. They've got 2 leagues. We have so many that we have 2, and people are excited, and some people are learning about it. Some people are bringing people along. That's what we love to see. And like, we could talk about Patreon, we could talk about YouTube clicks and views and subs and numbers and everything like that. But to me, when we see the community show up like this and want to be part of it, like pushing people out of the way, like, how do I get involved? How do I become part of this? That's the goal, man. That's the goal. Like, when I think about my chat with Drellish, like, that's what it is. So trying to figure out how I can best still do that. I've got a lot that I want to do this year. But honestly, like, the last couple of nights I've sat down and I've actually had some time to play some games. And I think, well, I've got podcasts where I should be talking about the games that I'm playing. And I don't know, man. Last night, like I said, I watched Top Gun, and it's not, I didn't want to tell you that because, like, I'm going to give you a review on Top Gun, but it's like, that's all I wanted to do. And I've been sitting around and going like, man, I would really like to make some progress on Fire Emblem or Midnight Suns, or the list goes on, finish finally Neon White, or maybe put a bigger dent into Elden Ring. I won 2 games over the holidays. I won a game last year. I won Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, there's too much, and I feel like it's just kind of a lot. But anyways, I'm dumping a whole bunch of crap on you. That's not what the intention of this. Maybe we'll revisit it at the end. Brendan Myers is here, and honestly, perfectly timed conversation for where I'm at right now, because he always gives me a little shot of perspective in the arm and just going like, you know what, man, like, just, we can chill out a little bit here. So let's all listen. This is a very fun conversation. So why don't you guys know Brendan Myers. He's the Winter Gamer. You see him on Twitter. You see him in the Discord and everything. Longtime supporter. He's one of the OGs. He's been there since the beginning. And I thank you so much, Brendan Myers, for this. You guys are going to really enjoy this chat. So here he is, my good friend and yours, Brendan Myers. These things happen. What do you got there? What's that?
Blue Moon.
Oh, it's my favorite. You knew that was my favorite.
It's all the time of the year beer.
It's the what?
It's the all the time of the year beer.
All the time of the any time. Yes. Winter, if it's Christmas, if it's Halloween.
Yeah, this is just the leftover because I went and filled up my mug.
Look at that. That is dude, if you told me ahead of time that you were going to be having a Blue Moon, I would have gone out to get one, man. I love that beer. The first time I ever had it was actually in the States. I was in New York. First time I ever had it was in New York City.
I think the first I had of it was probably my birthday, and I had it's called a Black and Blue, so it's Guinness and Blue Moon.
Ugh. That sounds awful.
It was actually good. And then I just had them separately.
Yeah, I think that's better. But I'm also not, and I might get shot for this by somebody, but like I'm not much of a Guinness fan. I'm not going to lie. I don't want a beer that is also a meal replacement,
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird because like most people like my dad, he's like, I'm not a Guinness person, but I will drink it from like in Ireland because my mom and her family's from Ireland.
Yeah.
So
when in Dublin,
drink it there when it's like it actually is a different experience than what anybody else would be if you had it here. So
yeah, I could see it. And maybe that might change things from then on. But for right now, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too close-minded. Maybe I didn't drink it when I was old enough, Maybe my palate hadn't matured yet.
It's not enough time to try everything, to play everything, to watch everything, eat everything. Dude,
I have gone on a bit of a spree. Like, I don't have time to play games, and yet I think I have time to read books. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I love U2. I haven't listened to U2 in a long time, and I feel like people are mixed on. Speaking of Ireland, by the way, but I picked up Bono's book. Like, this is a gigantic book, and it was just at Costco.
Book too.
they're all right here. I got Bono. I got this guy Neil Pesricha, Our Book of Awesome. It's very much a me book. I highly recommend this guy. David Goggins. I got Never Finished. This is the second book. I'm still reading my dang astronaut book. It's here too. I just picked up Cliffy B's book. It's here too. I got these dad joke books. Like, this is me becoming a dad for the first time. I got dad joke books, so now I'm a real dad. Now I might be able to join the Nintendo dads, not just be a guest. You know,
you're like an honorary guest for everybody, though. They're like, "Wait, Sean wants to come? Let's go."
Yeah, that's I'm glad you said that. That's nice. It's a nice to be asked to be on podcasts.
And then it's always nice when like I don't know you're gonna be on, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, listen to PSVG, and then I'm like, Sean's there.
I'm right there. Yeah, we there's not even any time to promote it. You know, we just kind of end up there. And Ryan was on a podcast this week. It's kind of nice. You know, I want that for the Carpool Crew. Everybody should be on all the shows.
I really wish that we could just like instead of like, oh, I need to find the podcast that person was on and like select it and to listen to it. Like I want to be able to go like, I want to follow like Sean Capri no matter what podcast he's on, and they just like they follow your tag, and so it's like you're like, oh, this week, like how many podcasts did Sean do this week?
There's some weeks it comes in bursts. Yep. It's
like no wonder why Sean's tired.
No wonder his eyes look like that. What the heck is going on, dude? It's funny because I threw it out there a while ago because like going on PSVG, I don't think I've been on a show in a little while anyways. And I threw it out there a while ago to that point, like what if I could put the episode of my guest appearance, like, or even a portion of it, like on this feed, for example, or on the Xbox Drive feed or something like that. Because I personally, I feel like that's the best way to kind of speaking of you two did that where they're like, oh, you don't want this album? Here, it's on your phone. And so I put that out there, and the response I got was that people thought it would seem like I am stealing listeners from the place that I was guesting and trying to like better serve myself. And it's like, I can understand that, but it would the intention is definitely not that. The intention is the opposite, is that there's a much better chance of actually having like my audience, quote unquote audience, like hear me on your podcast if I just put it as part of my feed instead of hoping they see the tweet or whatever, right?
Yeah, because there's like how many tweets are probably going past people's feeds every day.
Seriously.
And how often I thought I saw him tweet this, but I guess it's not because you're checking the feed. And next thing you know, it's like you talk about like, oh, he was on that podcast or whatever. Like, it's kind of wish how Stadia was gonna say it's like, hey, you're watching somebody streaming the game on Stadia, and then you can go see it and be like, click like, yes, I want to like subscribe to this. Like, I wish there was some integration with that, where you can be like, oh, I'm listening to Sean, and oh, Sean happens to be on this podcast, and you're like, oh, I'm really liking this. You don't have to even like search up that name. You can just be like, oh, here it is. Let me go add it to my feed.
That was such a genius idea. Like, I had a Stadia pre-ordered. I only canceled it at the very last moment. Turns out that was the right idea, but that was definitely an idea. I was like, that's awesome. Like, what if that was at mixer.com/insipidghost, you know? Oh my God, that would have been amazing. So right. Mixer was good, dude. Mixer was good.
So easy, and it was just like nice. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to be like, there's just so many people on some people's streets, and I just like Mixer just felt like nice and intimate.
Yeah.
And then you're just able to just hang out, and then like it felt like even just the stuff of just being on the stream would add up points where you can just be like, hey, I want to give you like credit that they would get.
Yeah.
Which was nice versus just like, all right, I can't even host you now. I can't even like.
Right. I know. Somebody needs to make like a pros and cons of Twitch and YouTube and whatnot. Like this is constantly on my mind until I finally like flip a switch and turn on twitch.tv/carpool gaming, which I don't think anybody really wants me to do, but this idea is planted in my mind. But it's no Mixer, you know, Twitch, Twitch, but there's trade-offs. I talked to Mitch about this a couple Well, I guess it was last month at this point. Yeah.
Last year,
man.
Yeah.
Still only 2 months since Extra Life, though, man. And I still have that stinking profile picture.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, all right, I kind of wish this was over. Like, I was loving it. Like, you saw. Wait, did I send you the video of me printing the whole army of Jar Jars?
I've heard rumors because I think you've told some other people. So some people have alluded to you were up to something because you were supposed to come to Extra Life, and then
let me see if I can send it to you on. But it was
check
just
it
like
out.
I have a vinyl printer at work.
A vinyl printer, like a 3D printer?
Yeah. No, it was just like vinyl, like where you decals.
Oh, ooh, decals, nice. I like it. Yeah, you did it for me. I see what you did there. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, you might not know decals.
What?
But it was so I was just like having to be there, and I was like, I wonder, and then like I just like added it in, and I just like they were like printing out like, no, I can't. I don't want to explain it. I want to actually send it to you.
Oh my gosh, dude! It must have been.
It must have been my kid.
What's that?
I take too many pictures of my kid.
Yeah.
I think it was after.
But I
wish
know
I could separate it from video. Like, all right, let me look at all my videos.
I'm just about to get all of the pictures.
Oh, can you send videos over Discord if you don't have Nitro?
You might actually be able to. I think we've been boosted, so you might be able to post it in something. Like you could put it in the Extra Life channel. Unless we've archived it. I hope that it's still up there. Because we're going to have to start thinking about next year's Extra Life pretty soon here, man.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like the amount of planning it does for it. It's not sometimes like before it was like, oh, I'll just go, like I can go and all that stuff. But now it's like you want to plan it because you just once you've been there, you're like, oh no, you just do so much better.
You got to be there. And you know what the crazy thing is? And I'm glad I'm already thinking about Extra Life. I'm glad that it's consistent, that it's always the same week. So Chelsea's cousin, who she's quite close with, is getting married, and she's getting married in November, and she's getting married on November 4th. And Chelsea goes, well, I'll go to the wedding, and I guess you'll just be in New York. And I'm like, that sounds like the best way this conversation could have possibly gone. Yeah, I'm definitely, but like any other, I don't know, maybe it's because I've gone there so many times or because this is a thing now. Like that was just the expectation. And it wasn't a conversation for us really like, should we, shouldn't we, like, what are we going to do? She's just, yeah, you'll be at Extra Life and I'll take the kids to the wedding, and her mom's going to take care of the kids while they're at the wedding, because who the heck wants screaming bratty kids at a wedding? Just ruin the whole dang day. That's my personal take, everybody.
I invited kids to our wedding. We were like, all right, that's fine.
Well, if you're cool with it, if you're okay with it, for sure. Yeah.
But like, it was like,
that's different.
All right, I was like, we're like not going to be like, oh, a child's going to ruin it. I was like, first of all, like, a kid's going to have to be like the absolute worst. And like, there's really like a small percentage of kids behaving like that.
You and I are very different on this. Kids are the worst. Are you kidding me? Kids are just like, they're running up and down the place, or babies screaming. Oh my God.
I mean, I had Mia at a bar tonight and she was perfectly fine.
Well, your baby, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mia's you guys made the cutest dang baby. And I'm not just saying, I don't say that to everybody, man. You guys have an absolutely cute daughter.
I was like, how is that mine? And then we see pictures of, because when my mom passed, we were going through pictures and we found her baby photo. And it was just like, uh-oh, it's like a spitting image of Mia.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool.
And so it was just like, okay, like I don't have to like get a DNA test or anything, like, cause I'm like, because like nobody's ever gonna. You have to be a whole different mindset to be thinking like, oh hey, I'm
get on Maury,
absolutely gorgeous, like I am cute, like you don't like, I don't even question it. I was just like, you always are gonna have your doubts, and then when you have that certain mindset, you're like, well, gotta have some fun with that, like oh, of course it's not my baby because I am ugly, or I don't look that great or my smile. I'm never that happy.
I don't know, man. I think she looks a lot like you now, just a little less beard, you know?
Yeah. Unless she
Smaller
grows
teeth.
one.
Actually, no teeth, I guess.
She got two. She's two on the bottom.
2 teeth. Oh my gosh, that is so freaking cute.
And I forgot about that she had teeth until she bit my nose. I was like, ow.
Oh, that's the worst. It's like puppy teeth. It's like they're so sharp. Like, what the heck? Why does this hurt so much? Because they don't know to like ease up. They just like chomp down. Oh my gosh, it's funny. I can't remember, Brendan. If do you have brothers and sisters?
I have older brother, older sister, and a younger brother.
Okay, so you're kind of like, I think we've talked about you in the middle, and you actually have baby pictures. That's kind of nice. I feel like that's rare for a middle child. I don't have any baby pictures.
Well, I think because especially during because I'm 91, so that's when like people were actually getting the more cameras and like
that might be true.
My Christmas, I think my Christmas was the first Christmas that we had a video camera. Like, so like I was the first kid, right? And we had the video camera. So my coming home video was my dad filming me in the airlock, and you can hear my mom like, "Oh, we just left the baby at the hospital," and my siblings are like, "Wait, where's the baby? We want to see him."
Oh man!
And it's just my dad's just like trying to hide, like not chuckle.
How do you like keep your videos now? Like, have you converted them to digital or anything like that?
My dad was taking a lot of them, putting them on DVD.
Yeah,
so anything from like my older brother's football games, like the highlight reel.
That's awesome.
Did that, and then has a couple of copies, and then now he's going through like photos and like scanning them in so that they're digitally there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, but it's like kind of like, oh, like you don't have to think about doing that now, but like, I mean, we'll probably actually do that because we got some photos from family members that are just handed to, like my one aunt, she's just all about printing pictures. She doesn't send them or anything like that. So she goes to Costco and just get a whole bulk of them printed.
Absolutely. Dude, there's something we actually get, as you can imagine, we get a lot of photos still printed. Like I go to Costco's photo lab all the time, and it's very nostalgic, I think. And I'm always torn on this as far as like living in the moment, but still capturing something, because I'm glad, a year later, 2 years, 5 years later, when I can look back and go like, thank goodness I have this video. But you don't always want to be like looking at life through a lens or through a camera or through a phone or anything. So it's like, it's catch-22. So I'm just glad like Chelsea takes most of the pictures, but yeah.
It's nice having like, family events. I don't have to worry about taking pictures because there's at least my aunt, and two of my cousins that are just always popping up the camera, whether it's them or their husbands and that. So it's like, I know a picture will get taken, and if we are looking good, we don't have to worry about putting on the phone. Just like, hey, can you take a picture of us? It'll eventually get to us.
Exactly. We just it needs to be a little bit more like streamlined, the sharing of many pictures. It's still hard. I feel like that's still, unless, I don't know. Like,
they have some cameras where you can share them Bluetooth. It's like, like link to this phone, and then you like link to the app, and then it's like, all right, here, I'm sending you this photo. And like literally the photo that they took with their nice lens and all that stuff is just sent to your phone. But it was like, it wasn't as smooth as that. It was like, okay, like, here, hold my phone. I'm gonna go grab a drink while this is happening.
See, and I have Apple phones, so I don't need to be taking any pictures. They look like garbage to that. iPhones cameras are terrible. Like especially when compared to like if you've got a Galaxy, right? Like a Samsung. Yeah. Like those cameras are excellent. The Pixel cameras are just beyond. They're so good. And so I just like, I have two reasons. My cameras, and I won't go back to Android. And so Chelsea shoots with the Pixel, and she's an actual photographer. So I'm like, I feel silly trying to take a picture next to her. Like, what am I doing here? This is dumb. Yeah.
It's almost as dumb. You almost feel as dumb if you don't have like the right equipment when somebody does. It's like the equivalent of like at like a graduation, somebody's like trying to take a picture with their tablet.
Oh, the iPad picture. Oh my gosh, dude.
It's like it really feels like you just brought like a brick.
I can't believe there's cameras on those things. Like, I guess I don't know. I guess some people want that. I just can't imagine taking a picture. It's like, unless it's like some sort of weird picture emergency, which I'm not sure what that would be.
I would do it more for like the whole like when you're video and you're like, oh, let me show you this. Like
Right.
some people are like
watching.
in the tablet watching, and then you can share with what you're seeing at the moment, which would be great. Like I would definitely want would feel more like, oh, most people would feel more comfortable with a tablet because it's like just bigger and they're not the small thing, and they're like, oh, where did the screen go? Whereas a tablet, if you can see, they can see what you're doing and see what they're showing you.
See, and so I'm still like even my iPad is a mini. Like I don't want anything to be enormous. Like my screen that I'm looking at you on is enormous, and my TVs are large. But like if my mobile devices, I decided a long time ago I don't need a laptop that's 17 inches. Like 15 is like max. That looks huge to me. So like
most of the time you probably would just dock it anyway. So
yes. So it's,
like if you need to, you can dock it. Before the days, it was like, I mean, it was a bit more of a headache to be like, oh, I'm going to make the screen bigger. Like I gotta connect it. Now everything's just so quick, or you can even just now do like a USB dock where you just plug it right in, and you can keep all your connections right there, where you can have multiple screens and your camera and all that stuff. So when you want to be like, all right, I need to get this going, or like, because my wife likes using the laptop a lot, so she's like, oh, I killed the battery on this, and I'm trying to look up recipes. Can you bring me your laptop? And I can just be like, disconnect and give it to her.
Yeah, nice, man. What are you playing? What are you playing on these days? Did you ever get into PC gaming, or are you mostly console?
I'm mostly console. I would love PC, and it's just like, obviously I like playing handheld, or like being able to not be tethered to anywhere. So
yeah,
most of it's remote.
So you're playing Mario Run?
Nah,
the one hand.
I tried the one. It was like the one level, and it was like the first jump. And like the first tap was like, nah, I'm uninstalling this.
That was it.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it just didn't feel like it.
Yeah, you got to give it at least a little bit of more of a chance than that. But I get it, because I just talked to Seth this week about Kid Icarus on 3DS. I'm like, I gave that game maybe 5 minutes, and I was out.
I heard that, and I was like, oh, I feel like you missed out.
Really?
On like the hand grip. I mean, it was. I mean, I got that. I was in college, and I just was like, because there was online to it too. So there was online battles, and just like it had that like Star Fox feel of like, oh, you can get better grades, or like you're just replaying the level and trying to find all the secrets. And it was just like, well, I could do that, or because like on the TV that we had, it was like Call of Duty, so you were playing one person at a time, or unless you want to do split screen. And then so I was just like, I'm gonna do this because like this is something I can get myself competitive in. But then I definitely was using the stand that they had for it. Yes,
yeah, I still have it. It's like I have like these ridiculous things, just in storage, as I'm sure so many people do as well. And it's like, I'm literally running out of space here. Chelsea, like on my honey list to do tomorrow is to like build shelves in our garage that are basically attached to the roof, like the ceiling of, right? So like you can kind of like
those ones, so you can slide things on.
Yep.
Yeah, like the totes, and then the shelves can be some of the heavier stuff.
Totally,
if need be.
Yep, like Christmas stuff or whatever. Yeah. That's
stuff you're not going to pull out as frequently can go on those. And then, man, I wanted the garage so bad.
Oh, man. It's just a place for things to accumulate. I will say Chelsea's crushing it today. She's just like, she took like 4 or 5 bags to like the donation center or whatever. And it's like, I've been talking about this for a long, I think I was talking to Drellish about this, how I wanted to have like a dumpster bin just outside. I'm like, I just want to get rid of stuff. And she did it, man. It was awesome.
It's satisfying to get a dumpster and just throw stuff in
it. Like, I don't care. Like, obviously, best case scenario is you can, like, give something away or, like, recycle or, like, to have a proper way of disposing it. But sometimes there's just too much stuff. And I just need... I was even talking to her about, like, a garage sale. Like, let's just sell a bunch of stuff. Because I think you'll find this as well as Mia gets a little bit older, is, like... It's like the clothes, but it's everything. It's so much stuff, and it's all temporary.
Yeah,
like
it's like why did I buy this? luckily most of his stuff has been given, so we've only bought like certain small amount.
Yeah,
of
we're
clothes.
the same. Yeah.
But it's just like, imagine if we bought this all. Like we'd have to
Mhm.
figure out what we're doing with it. We were given a lot of clothes, and like a lot of the stuff like we didn't have to buy, like because you're like, oh, there's infant car seat. You're only gonna be in this for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and then they might be too heavy for it, and then you gotta go to the other seat. And it's like, what?
I know these
why
kids.
is-
They
why
cost
is-
like $1 million. Dude.
Yes.
It's nuts. I think that's real. I feel like that's I don't know. I might be just spreading false information all week. You know, nobody corrected me on the Splenda thing. That Splenda was created with the intention of being a detergent.
I heard that. I was like, I mean, there's been like I don't disbelieve it, because there's definitely so many true stories where their intentions were this, and then they're like in a right field in baseball is where they're trying to get, and they end up being in the middle of the pitch of a soccer field. It's like, what? You completely were in the wrong zip code and all that stuff, like where you ended up.
Yeah.
So it's like when you said that, I was like I can't like put my foot down.
We should just
no,
look it
that's
up.
not
Like,
it.
I don't know why I didn't do this before. Like, we should just like find out. Like, what the heck is the deal with this Splenda? Okay, Splenda. Okay, I can't spell Splenda. Splenda originally what was it? Splenda originally created for? Sucralose. This is different. Splenda was invented for his discovery. Scientists at British College allegedly misheard instructions about testing a substance and said he tasted it, realizing it was highly sweet. That's the part of the story that I heard. So, what the heck was it for? What's that?
What was he trying to do? Like, it's like he accidentally did something and tasted sweet, but what was he supposed? What was it supposed to taste like? Or
yeah. The promise of this is at sever.com, whatever this is. The promise of calorie-free treat has stronger pull than any of the deterrents. Blasey, blasey, blasey. The history of the compounds. Blasey, blasey. In the beginning, there was saccharin, which apparently was 500 times sweeter than sugar. And there's a picture of a dead rat sitting next to a flask of it. So that can't be good. Sweeteners eventually banned in 1912. The decision was reversed during World War I, when sugar rations necessitated the use of saccharin as a substitute. That's wild. Holy cow. Along came Splenda, sucralose, which was later marketed as Splenda, was created in 1976 when scientists found a way to molecularly bond sucrose molecules with chlorine. Yes, chlorine. What am I ingesting? I don't know if I want to read this article, Brennan.
yeah.
One researcher was asked to test the chlorinated compound, but misheard the request and tasted it. Oh, one researcher was asked to test the compound, and he tasted it. The researcher survived, and in doing so, paved the way to a product that is about 600 times sweeter than sugar. Is it really? Unlike artificial sweeteners that came before, sucralose is metabolized by the body, which means it does deliver calories. It does?
What?
Thus, Splenda has replaced NutraSweet as the most widely consumed sugar substitute on the market for now. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that seemed like a fairly comprehensive thing, but
It's fun.
I don't know. I'm also like really skimming through this. So who knows?
It feels like it's like one of those stories that's like, I'm looking at the recipe, and then you're getting the whole family, like, here my family story, why we love this dish, and all. Like, it gives the whole explanation of a story rather than just giving you the recipe.
Yeah.
Just give me what it is.
Get that microphone a little closer back over your mouth. There you go. No,
you're
good. You're good.
I went and had a drink.
No, you're good. That's probably better not to hear the slurping.
Though some people might like that.
That's true. I didn't think of that. That's true, actually.
There's always somebody that if you're like, oh, somebody might not like that, and it's like, well, somebody
might. Yeah, for every person who does. That's why we've got Garrett Bland and Locklith. We've got our ASMR experts over here.
Yeah, I would love to. Like, I was like, he wrote a paper. And I was like,
read it.
Like, trying to read it, and I was like, I wish he read it
Yeah,
Because then
audiobooks.
I would be like,
Dude, that would be incredible. Dr. Garrett Bland, co-host of the RPG Cave, does ASMR readings of his PhD papers. That would be amazing.
No, you also have to add his whatever his what was his title in the RPG, level 99.
Yeah,
range.
Archmage.
Archmage, is that? I believe it is.
It sounds about right. I listen, I swear.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people. It's the nice thing is I feel like a lot of like I'm like, oh, I listen to Trophy Room, I listen to all these different podcasts, and you feel like you feel better when you know like, oh, those people are listening to what you're listening to as well. Like, but so it's like, okay, like this is kind of neat feature. It's like how many actors are actually watching their other co-hosts movies and all that stuff. Like there's not enough time, but like you guys are taking the time to create it, and then you're also taking the time to listen to each other's
at 2 times speed. Well, and Jason Lacey and I talked about this as well. Like in some ways, it's like me staying in touch with my friends, and I think that's how generally people feel about listening to podcasts as well. But when with Jason in particular, it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually still not talking to him. So maybe I should do that, right? Like I can fool myself. Justin Masson is another good example. Like I'll go into the Nintendo Dad streams every once in a while and go troll him for a bit. And I'm realizing like that might be the extent of my interactions with him. I should probably do a little better than that as an actual friend of his, you know?
But it was funny when it was you and Toby like talking to each other.
Oh wow!
But like from your own podcast, like you weren't on it, but you were just like saying something and just having Bobby pass it on.
That's so funny. That sounds about right. And man, I miss Toby. Toby's the best.
He is missed. I wish
missed.
he's around more. But you know what? Like I can completely understand once you have a kid, your life is like, oh yeah, this isn't quite as like doable.
Yeah.
Without the extra effort, and where can that extra effort be utilized more?
Mm-hmm. I think the other piece of it too, like that's obviously like that's a huge part of it. The other piece is once you stop, I think it's really hard to get going, and I think that's with anything. Like podcasting is obviously kind of niche, but I wasn't working out over the holidays, like not even a little bit. I went for a run on Christmas Eve and that was it. And then I just ate for a couple of weeks. And so 2 days ago, I started like, okay, I've got to get back on track here. Got to get up early. And dude, it's been real hard where it was just habit before and like 2 weeks off. And I hate it. Like, I am not enjoying myself right now. It's tough. So getting started again, I think is like, it's good to have a break, but man, it's tough to get going.
Sometimes it went too long of a break. It's like the people that are like, you go like, oh, how, like, do you go on like a 10-day cruise? They're like, how was your cruise? It's like, I liked it, but at the end of it, I just, like, they're like, it was too much. Like, it needs to be shorter and then it would have been perfect. But when it's too long, it's like, threw me off. And then you're like, your body is like, you know, like, I gotta be doing something because like there's too much like lingering.
Oh yeah.
But I can't do anything because I'm on vacation. Like it's like I can't be working on the house or working on a project or doing something over at this person's house. It's like I'm literally stuck on a cruise ship,
right?
And just drink. So it's
they
like
let you off for a few hours at a time, and if you're not back, then you're stuck on this island. Like what the heck?
Yes.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
No, we were actually. The tentative plan was to go on one last year. I believe it was going to be when my wife would still be pregnant, but
that's risky. Like, I don't even know if you're allowed to. Like, I think that cutoff is pretty early.
Or it might have been just the baby Mia would have been born, so we would have been like, yeah, this isn't going to work. And it was a non-kid cruise too, so it was just like this whole thing. We originally were doing it because like family friends were doing it, and it would be something that like we can go with her. It was an Alaskan cruise, and we'd be able to do stuff with her dad, my wife's dad, and then he'd be able to do things with his friends, the family friends as well. So it was not something like he was like a loner tagging along with somebody all the time.
Yeah.
So or he could just do
Alaskan
his own
cruise
thing.
sounds good, but dude, like that's got to be cold, right? Like it's cold. Like I just can't. It's not a. I don't know. It's always the beautiful photography. I always think of like Wheel of Fortune or some place like gonna send you off on an Alaskan cruise. I think of like those pictures, and it looks sunny and beautiful, blue waters, white ice, and everything, glaciers and
but
whatnot.
they literally play hockey outside,
right?
Majority of the year.
Yeah,
It feels like.
Well, and like I live in this. Like this is further north than I am. Like Alaska. Yeah. How could it be desirable? I kind of wish that you went because I'd love to learn more about that. But I love cruising, by the way. And 10 days, like that's Chelsea and I. Like that's kind of like our sweet spot. We'll do 10 days. Yeah. 7 days is too short. 10 days is perfect, man. You get a couple days at sea. You get completely freaked out by not seeing land. That's crazy.
Yes.
And in the middle of the night with like no like lights around, you go to the outside and it's pitch black. It is so weird.
You don't see anything. I love when first time I realized how much like light pollution there is when I went to Philmont, New Mexico, which is a Boy Scout ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were hiking, and then I think we were doing this. There was a night ceremony before everybody was going to be hitting the trails. Like it was like you're at base camp for a little bit and then you go out to your trails, and we hiked over like 100 miles.
Holy crap.
So in like 10 days.
You're insane, man. Holy cow.
It was, the training for it was a lot harder.
Yeah.
So we were able like so much easier when we did it, and it was like, okay. I think the hardest part was because we had a mule and just getting that to move, and we were like,
wait. What?
So there's like part of it was like, oh, you can do like use a mule and you can use it to carry some of your stuff. And
oh my gosh!
But like we had to take it from point A to point B, and so sometimes it'd just be literally like why they call it an ass. It was being an ass and not moving. So like for some reason it would move for me, like I could get it to go, and then
mule whisperer.
And then if
Brendan
I
Myers,
get
the
it,
ass whisperer.
And it was just like, I don't know if you heard of a Lara bar.
Yeah. Like
it was
the
like
snacks?
those things. The lemon ones. It's like this doesn't taste great, but it gives you what you need. Yeah. And we're like, all right, let's feed it this so it can get going. like use it to entice it.
Holy cow, dude! Oh my gosh, what? And why were you doing this? Like, was this some sort of challenge or something?
It's just a Boy Scout thing where I think the stats are that less Boy Scouts go to Philmont and like complete it than get their Eagle Scout, like get all the way to Eagle Scout rank. So that's one thing that all my dad got to do with all of his sons.
That's awesome.
And it was nice. But like when you were out there for the ceremony and we were like walking back, like I was just looking up. Like I was like, I know it's pitch dark and this path should be good, but like you could see so many stars.
Yeah, man.
With no light pollution for. Mm-hmm. And then when we got back, we were dropped off. We like, all met at the church, and my mom was gonna pick us up. And then, it was like, yo, this light is so bothersome. Mm-hmm. Like it was like,
once you become aware of it. Yeah.
And I was like, and like even like we live out more in the country with the farms and all that stuff, and even like you can get those lights from so you're thinking you're far, but really light travels a lot farther than you think. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, it's like, wow. Like science. Like that's really what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when Chelsea was pregnant with Lincoln, we went for like kind of like a last like solo kind of vacation.
Baby moon.
Yeah, but yeah. I think that's what somebody had called a baby moon. Cool. We went to Jasper, which is out in the mountains. It's a lovely place, a couple hours away from here. Not Janspur or whatever the heck I called it, the Nintendo Drive. And we saw Bill Nye there. Bill Nye had kind of like he had like a lecture kind of thing, which is like totally nerdy for. So awesome. On our baby moon, I saw Bill Nye, and on our honeymoon, I went to space camp at NASA at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, which was awesome. And that's where I first learned of this whole like light pollution kind of thing. And all I could think of when I got home was like, why don't we just like not let the light go up? It seems like, and I'm a very simple person, but it seemed to me like the solution was just put like something on top of those lights so that the light points down and doesn't point up at the sky and kills animals and ruins their whole like sleep cycle or whatever's going on there. And then we could see the stars because man, we don't see nothing.
They're so beautiful.
I know.
I remember one time because my dad was really into space, so there'd be times where he'd have the NASA channel on, which they're literally at ground control, just watching the people in ground control. I was like,
that's awesome.
Dad, can we play 64? Like, no. I want to play Nintendo 60. It's like, no. I was like, okay, can I at least have my Game Boy?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
man, that's so funny how many years ago that was, and that scenario plays out almost exactly the same now. Like the TV's in use, play the Switch, played iPad or tablet or whatever. Yeah.
And my dad would have like the software on his computer where you could see like where the stars are. So it was like, all right, this is where, according to our house, this is where we should be able to see Mars.
Yeah.
And then so he was like, all right, pulling out the telescope and all that stuff, and I'm like, Dad, I see it, the red one. And my dad was like, that can't be it. You shouldn't be able to see it. And then he's like looking at the details of what he printed out and all that stuff. He's like, oh, it is.
Totally Mars.
I was like,
you saw Mars with your eyeball?
Yes.
Like obviously like, through a telescope. That's
amazing. It was like a red dot. It was just cool. It was almost like a laser pointer in the sky.
Oh,
like that you could see. It was just like that. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
That's
and it
wild.
just had that funny moment where my dad was like, oh, that can't be. And I was just like, no, pretty sure. Like, I don't know anything else red in the sky besides the sun.
Yeah,
and that would hurt my eyes.
Yeah,
if I look at it long enough.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, dude, I love that. I think there's a comet coming this year. I think we're gonna be able to see a comet or something. Yeah.
Well, it might depend on where you are, because like we're even just like we could be lined up in like the same. What is it? Longitude. I forget which one's which. Which one's like east and west?
Latitude. Longitude is up and down. I'm fairly
up and down. Okay. My like longitude is like it makes me think this way, like horizontally. So I was thinking like, oh, like you can be in the same place, like on one level, but if you're higher up on the planet,
how far away from the equator?
Like how you are susceptible to longer nights now because it's winter and all that.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's just like
it's always night, dude. Like it's we barely get any sun right now.
It's just like, okay, like you gotta literally pack, like if you're doing anything with your kids out in the day, you're like, cram it all in.
Well, it's a bit of a blessing with young kids because they look at the dark sky and they go, I guess it's bedtime. So you're kind of like, all right, yeah, go to bed. It's 4:30.
Gets you wanting to go to bed too. It's like, oh well, like that sounds like a great idea. And they're looking, like I check on them and look at it, they're still sleeping. It's like, that looks really comfortable. Like I wish I could do that right now.
Yeah, there's a few tiand I must have missed podcasts. I must have missed a whole bunch of stuff where I would put Lincoln to sleep and streams. Definitely streams. I've definitely missed a few. And I just kind of stopped doing them throughout the week because that's just I was doing it too often where I'm like, sorry guys, missed out on this one, and I can only do that so often before I just go, I'm not even going to try anymore.
It definitely was when I was still working at the foundry. I'd be like, all right, Sean should be on for a little bit before I hit the road, and it's like Sean's out there, and people are like, "Where's Sean? Where's Sean?" It was like, most likely fell asleep.
like with Lincoln, right in his bed, just and which I wouldn't change for the world.
Oh no, it's one of the best feelings.
Totally,
especially when because like for my wife, when we brought Mia home, she was having colic and all that stuff. So most of the time we were trading off having her sleep on our chests.
Yeah.
And then 4th of July weekend, we did the weekend before I went, the buddy of ours that was in our wedding party, he made the crib. And so then I went, got it that weekend, assembled it, and then we're doing the sleep training for 4th of July weekend because we had longer. And then my wife put in some time to be like, oh, I want to be able to take off. And then she was able to redact it because Mia started sleeping like the second night.
Oh.
but then my wife was like wanting to be like, let's keep the same tradition, like what you're doing. So like I would always rock her to sleep and all that stuff. And then like there's some nights where it's like I just fall asleep just holding her, and it's just so precious and enjoyable. And it's like oh, I have some like 10,000 things to do, but like I know this is like okay to do. Like this, there's nothing wrong with doing it.
Definitely,
because you're not going to get that again. Who knows if you're going to get that with the next kid?
Right. Yeah.
So
I didn't even think of that actually with Lincoln. That's good perspective to have that early, man, because Ellie is a totally different kid. Like so different.
I think perspective is like definitely nice because like something that I have more of because I tend to listen to more different people and there's different things. There's different perspectives as well. So it's like, oh, let me evaluate that. Like one of the persons that I started re-listening to Bill Burr again on his podcast. So I'm like getting good laughs, but then he's also a dad. So then I'm hearing him and like him dealing with he's a hot-headed Boston guy. So you're like hearing him like dealing with like, yeah, I was stressed about this, but then he calms out. Like he's literally seeing what he's like being crazy. Like, why am I acting like this kind of thing? And then like making fun of himself for reacting, like being like that. And so like, it's like, oh, being more mindful. Like I'm using those kind of things to be more mindful of what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful.
It's funny because even today I was listening to him. He was going, because we mentioned the cruise. He's like, I wouldn't do a comedy on a cruise anymore because it's literally like, it's like the ocean is literally space on Earth. Like you can they literally train in the water. Yeah, and then like it's just like endless. You don't know what's gonna happen. Like you could be on the edge of water and you can just go all the way down, and you could be eaten or sucked into whatever. It's just like, so it's like, oh, like it's nice being able to listen, but now I actually listen to myself what I'm doing. So it's like another level. Yeah. So it's just like that perspective is very nice to have, even if you're not going to be learning from it right away. Like, right. Or like you're not like, oh, obviously I should know this, but you're hearing yourself and you're like, I'm catching myself in the mood. Like, and it's funny because I catch myself and I like tell my wife like, yeah, I shouldn't react like that. I know, like I should, like there's better ways to communicate this and all this stuff. And then my wife is like literally telling her coworkers like, yeah, he says this stuff, and I'm speechless. Like I'm like I can't be mad at him because he's being self-aware.
Dude, it's like a cheat code. Look at that.
It's like I'm like, oh sweet, I'm actually getting good at the game.
Nice, I love that. Bill Burr is an interesting. Well, I feel like he's more interesting now than just like flying off the handle all the time. Like I actually like this kind of dynamic. I have a weird hypothetical or question for you. Speaking of space and or oceans being terrifying, would you rather go to the moon or to the deepest, darkest depths of the oceans?
Deepest, darkest depths of the ocean.
Interesting.
Only because nobody else has done it.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing that we walked on the moon?
Hall of Fame. There's an astronaut Hall of Fame. So like, there's no hey, I'm at the bottom of the ocean Hall of Fame. So
why not?
Like, I would be that.
Dude, that sounds terrifying though. What is down there?
Yeah, but like you could be like, I mean, actually, there's no guarantee that you survive.
That's what I mean. Like both. Yeah. Like, is that sound safer to you? Like, does the bottom of the ocean sound safer than the moon? Because I don't think it is.
Oh, who knows? Like, you could be on the moon and the moon could get hit by an asteroid.
I'm not suggesting that the moon is all that safe at all.
So it's just something that we can see from here. So it's like, I already see you. I don't see the bottom of the ocean. So I'll take the risk.
I got up nice and early this morning. So I and the moon it's a full moon right now. And I was just looking at him like, that thing must be massive. Like we're never going to get any additional like perspective of like the size of this thing, but like it's just there. just floating around, and it like impacts our oceans. The whole like tide is because of the moon. What? They didn't teach me this in school. That's fascinating. I would have paid way more attention in science classes. They're like, okay, here's the world, and like it sort of just like sloshes around in this water that moves around it because the moon is pulling. What? Like, that's awesome to me. I think that's fascinating. And you just want to go to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's gonna be a major flex. Like I was at the bottom of the ocean. What did you do?
That's true. It's tough to top that. And also,
like,
I imagine you would have to be.
You know, you'll run into that chance of like, oh, this person actually did go to space. Like,
oh my god, that's true.
You know, there's no guarantee. So there's no one gonna one up you.
How is that a thing? How do we have this like space station floating around up there and nothing? Like, no, I guess what we're talking about is Rapture, like in BioShock. Like, is that what we're hoping for? Like, we want to build a city underwater. I don't know if that's such a good idea either. Didn't really work out there. We can't even build roads here. Well, what makes us think we're going to be able to build?
No,
the whole thing is like those pneumatic tubes or whatever. Like, you know, kind of like Futurama, but underwater.
Now we're almost gonna get that with the Mario movie. The tubes,
dude,
the pipes.
That's all you need to do. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather go to space. I think I'm gonna disagree with you on
you're
this
so
one.
Fascinated with it.
I don't know. Like, there's nothing to eat me out there. I guess. I don't think so. Anyways,
that you know of.
That's the other thing. Like, you just look at. You need to zoom in real close to get an understanding of like what's actually there. You know, like you see the moon, you're like, I think I know what that's like, and it's like, no, you don't. You have no idea. You have no idea what that looks like. And we send this like little robot to Mars, and we're like, all right, we know what's on Mars. It's like the whole planet. I don't know. That's why I'm excited about Starfield.
Yeah.
What's that whole planet gonna be like? You know, you land on, or No Man's Sky, I think is interesting as well. But you have like Star Wars where you have Hoth, and it's like the ice planet. Like the whole planet is the same. Like where I live is very different from where you live, you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's gotta be like some, like on Hoth, there's gotta be some, like how they have like the hot springs.
Hot springs, yes, exactly. There's gotta be,
like, so like there should be like a whole hot spring, like almost like there, I feel like there'd almost be like, was it Journey to the Center of the Earth? Like how there's like dinosaurs. It's like you can do that. Like
that's the other thing.
There could be something that you don't know everything, and
it makes me
so
mad.
Nice. Why does it make you mad?
It makes me mad that we don't know it. It's like we have how many robots do we have on Mars or have had on Mars? Like 4 or 5 or something? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know, but the battery on that rover just like it lasts a lifetime. And,
I know.
Your phone can't even last a whole day.
Wow, I mean, it's solar powered, so there's that, and it moves very slow. But what I want to do is send like the crew from Jurassic Park, send them to Mars. Like get these archaeologists over there, get digging, do the whole. Remember when they did like the giant like jackhammer thing, and it just gave them a sonogram of whatever, like what was underground. Like that's what we need. I want to know if there's like, don't just like scoop up a little dust. I don't need like a Dyson going over to Mars and bringing stuff back. Like I want to know what's down there. Like, and everywhere. It's a whole planet, Brendan. Oh my gosh. I'm like sweating on my face, getting excited about this. We got to get to Mars. That's what's important.
Let's go beyond Mars. Let's just skip it.
I don't know if I would go to Mars though. I think that would like. Suck.
I forget what's the timeline of getting there though.
I think like it's like 2030.
No, but like actually maybe? To get
like how long it would take to travel
there. Yeah,
it's like 9 months. It's like a pregnancy.
Months?
Yeah,
it's a pregnancy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it comes short.
That's the other thing though. Like, why don't we just build faster rockets? Like, how are we?
Or build something that can be like, what is it? Andromeda? No, Mass Effect, where they have like the stations that allow you to
the mass relays. Reduce your mass down to 0. Yeah. You move like a photon.
Let's go let's go video game this shit.
I'm telling you, man.
It's just
Dude,
like,
that's some of my favorite science fiction. And when it was so funny, because I think you listened to me on PSVG this week.
yes,
Yeah. And Dev said, you obviously don't like sci-fi. I'm like, you have no clue.
I love space,
Dude, and Mass Effect, it just even in video games, Mass Effect, the way they explain faster than light travel is like, it's so brilliant because you can kind of conceive it. Because if the laws of physics say that nothing with mass travels the speed of light, it's like, all right, well then get rid of the mass and you're good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I can live with that. Like, I don't know much about this stuff, but I know enough to think that that's possible. It's probable. Makes sense to me.
Eventually.
God, I love that game. Oh my gosh. Well, the other thing too is, I mean, you could build a space station on the moon or something like that. I saw this video of one of the ways that we could get there is just the hardest thing is getting the rockets out of our gravity. So if you have something else somewhere else to like refuel and keep you going, then you're great. Or if you just launch a rocket from the moon, then you're using all your power and just flinging it off into Mars. But you're using all this fuel and the rocket's got to be enormous to hold the fuel. The thing that drives me like kind of mental in my mind, Brendan, is how do they figure out like how heavy the rocket is going to be at every like millisecond of its travel, right? Because it's always burning fuel. So as soon as you burn the fuel, it's lighter now and then now.
And then it gets more efficient. Like when you're your car's going to be driving differently,
right?
More efficient when you have less in it than when you have more weight in it. So it's like,
right.
Well, like how do you figure that out? Like consistently? It's always like ever changing. So that's where the A, B, and C comes in to the equation.
It's wild to the point where you can precisely land a rocket to that little laser dot you said in the sky and just like have it like softly land over there.
And then be able to come back.
Because you used math? Like, that's awesome. Like, God bless the people who do that. They have figured that out. And I don't know, man. It costs millions of dollars, billions of dollars even. And they're just like, yeah, we'll just like throw this thing up into the sky and it'll land on a rock somewhere else in space. That is nuts. And if people haven't had like gained an appreciation for that, I don't know what else to tell you, dude.
I have a gained appreciation for Elon Musk because he's like, I'm not going to stop here on like, I want that to continue. Whereas like, I feel like everywhere else was like, yeah, we're going to slow down on this, like the whole space thing. It felt like they tried to do it more like a publicity stunt of like, we're the first to the moon.
Totally. Yeah. And now there's going to be like shit on asteroids though. Like they're going to go get like metals and gold and iron and everything. Like they're just going to, I think that's fascinating too. Go mine the crap out of an asteroid. Well, you could split it in half with a couple nukes. Yeah, that'd be good. Since Steve Buscemi and Ben Affleck. Oh my gosh, dude. This is such a good movie.
How old were they when they made that movie?
I mean, that movie I think was like 1998. So, gosh, we're coming up on 25 years. We're 25 years, I think, Armageddon. It's 25 years ago. Oh, no. That's awful. That's a long time.
You were a kid then, so it's not that bad.
That I like it so much?
No, yeah.
I think everything that came out when I was 98. Some movies
will hit you better when you're like as a kid, and then it's even more rewarding when you rewatch it and it's like as an adult, it's like shit, this holds up. Yeah.
I think it does. Not everything does.
Because you're like watching what your kids are watching, you're like, no, stupid. Like wait, they kids find it entertaining. It's like, I hope I wasn't like this. And then I go rewatch live action Ninja Turtle movies, and I was like, I had it good.
Yeah, like, man. I was hoping you would say that. Yeah, the first two especially were really, really good. I mentioned Toka and Razar. I think it was the post show maybe, or maybe the main show, the Nintendo Drive, and nobody knew what I was talking about.
What? How did they not know that?
Thank you. Yeah.
They arrived in the game in Shredder's Revenge.
Exactly. Like, it's not even like it's just isolated. It was weird, though, like, growing up with the cartoon and then going to see that movie, you're like, who is this? Like, where's Bebop and Rocksteady? How have they not made it there? Or Krang? Like, where is everybody? And it worked out in the end. We got Vanilla Ice.
Yes, we got Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. So we were pretty happy with that. Yeah.
And then how it grew, like, because you probably didn't watch it when they came out with the next animated series.
No.
But when they had I think they like combined Krang and Shredder.
What?
Like, so Shredder was actually like Krang cyborg body and all that stuff.
No
at that
way.
point.
Is that real?
That was
That's real?
Yeah, I believe it's like. I mean, I was watching this when I was in high school.
How do I find? I don't even know there was another animated Turtles.
Yeah, there was one that was like. I mean, I love the theme song. It was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles counted off one.
I don't know that at all.
Oh, I loved it because they were writing like parallel to the story that you knew. Like they did the whole like first movie kind of thing with like, oh, right, they're gonna go to the farm. I believe they did that. But then
Turtles Forever, like 2000. This says 2009 was Turtles Forever.
No, I think it was 2002.
Okay, so Kevin Eastman sold his share of the Ninja Turtles franchise to Laird in 2000. In 2003, 4Kids Entertainment launched a new animated Turtles series, which ran for 7 seasons, concluding with the television film Turtles Forever in 2009. Interesting. Oh, wow. I never watched this. Oh, that looks... Oh, wow.
Dude, you know what? Because I was listening to you and you mentioned about The Last Ronin, talking about that on one of the... And so I was like, we made it to Ninja Turtle. I was like, it just happened to go that way. I didn't even think like, oh, you mentioned this, and now I wanted to bring it up. And I just wasn't thinking about what I want to bring up. And we ended up
rooted in our minds.
Ended up because
how did we get here?
I think it was what was it the robot that was like Dr. Bunsen or the robot that in the comic. I think that in this animated series where I got my first introduction to him.
Interesting.
And so I was
check
like,
this out. Where can I watch this?
I remember like because back in the day it was on the CW or Pix 11, like that channel, and then that was back in the days when they're like, oh, we're gonna put this on the internet for free, and now it's like you gotta pay for Hulu to watch that.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, what streaming service if this is on anything? Again,
it's always the one that you don't.
Google.
It feels like it's always the one that you don't have. Too.
That is very top of mind for me lately. I don't know if I've talked this one to death, but like. That has me buying movies. That has me buying books, like kind of owning things again. Yeah. And even as somebody with Game Pass, I'm like, I don't know how long. Like, am I going to have Game Pass forever? Like, I don't know.
Oh, what's Turtles Forever? I didn't realize it was called Turtles Forever.
That was the movie. It says the movie in 2009.
Oh, the movie. Okay, but it was definitely that series.
Yeah, it was just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then in brackets 2003 TV series, according to Wikipedia.
Oh, 2003. Okay.
Yeah. I gotta check this out. I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, I know they made a bunch of weird movies and stuff, and that got all strange, but I didn't know that there was more animated stuff.
There was definitely that was like
good?
Animated. I enjoyed it as I was probably the age where you're like, oh, are you still watching Saturday morning cartoons?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of age, and I was like, yeah,
yeah, maybe a little late.
Like, well, would you rather have me be doing drugs? That was my excuse.
Dude, like if kids have that in their back pocket, you can't argue that. Like, what do you even say? Like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean that's basically what I say about Splenda. Is I'm not like I don't really drink all that much, and no black tar heroin. So get off my back about a couple packets of Splenda. Okay, yeah, it's okay.
Enjoy.
I wanted to ask you.
I need to lower down on the creamer.
When I wanted to ask you when like. You were born in 1991, so if you are, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what year you're 13, 14-ish years old, because I can't remember who I was, it might have been Dan from Retro Logic I was talking to about, like, those years, 12 to 14, 12 to 15 kind of thing, those are, like, your favorite video games are probably then, your favorite movies are probably then, you know, maybe music is a little later than that, I would say. But, like... 2003 to 2006, something like that. Is my guess for like some of your favorite games?
It's probably going to be all right. So, Twilight Princess.
Yeah. 2006. I think
has to be
2005.
Oh, the original Lego Star Wars 2 came out that year.
Yeah, man.
That was fun playing with my younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
And my older brother just picked it up and we're playing it, and then like. I remember we were trying to hunt all the stuff, and on like the first level of episode 4. Like you would take speeders onto this island, and then I destroyed my brother's speeder, and then I was just like, I was driving around the island that he was on. He was getting so pissed off. I was like, ha ha ha.
Every kid should have a Star Wars game memory growing up, I think.
Yeah.
Like whether you love Star Wars or not, I think could be a separate conversation, and there's varying levels of fandom, I guess, for Star Wars. But Dark Forces, Rebel Assault for me, or even Shadows of the Empire on the later end. But I don't know, it's just such a timeless thing. You know, I think that's why people care about it so much.
All right. I definitely was playing that year Kingdom Hearts 2.
There you go.
Well, December 22nd, 2005 is when it came out.
Yeah.
And I remember because that was my first, that was me freshman year. And then I remember getting it for my birthday. And it was like, because my birthday's in April, and that's when spring break was.
Yes.
And
you're so lucky.
My younger brother was like, so my Nana gave new challenges available for Snap, for Marvel Snap.
Yes. I'm aware. I have the new season.
I had the notification popped up because I opened up Windows on my. Because I'm like, I don't want to text on my phone. I want to be able to have a keyboard.
Yep.
So the one Christmas, my Nana gave us Kingdom Hearts, and we're like, what the hell is this? And I was like, oh, they probably like gave this to us because it has like Mickey Mouse on it.
For sure.
And then we played it, and we're like, what? This is awesome.
Which one? Like, was that the first
the
Kingdom
first
Hearts?
one?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then that definitely set in stone with me and my younger brother, where I am somehow godly with the water levels. So Water Temple, I beat for Ocarina of Time, and we didn't get that. We didn't get that till after like both my cousins had it for a while, and we were able to beat the game before them because I was able to actually beat the Water Temple, whereas everybody else was like, "What is this?" It was like, it's like almost like I'm the kid that can solve the Rubik's Cube with the Water Temple, and then.
Or Bobby beating Mike Tyson in Punch Out.
Yeah. And then there's like a water level where like you're going through these water tunnels, and it's literally like shooting you through them. So like you're navigating that way, and I was able to solve that puzzle for my younger brother too, and like save it right before the boss fight, and go like, here you go. He's like, that's when the point is like, I hate you with water levels because you're better than me. Like,
this explains your deep sea, your deep ocean exploration. Honestly, like I think it's rooted in that.
Like water is like, I can navigate this. I did some video games.
Yeah, you would have survived the Titanic. You know.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have? Like, do you ever think like what it would be like to be? Speaking of cruise ships, good God. Like what? If the whole ship is just going down. Like, what do you even do? That would suck. Oh, what a way to go.
Is, like, I think the way that, like, if you were like, all right, I died as like you automatically became a ghost afterwards, and you're like, why was I panicking? Like there's like I know how to deal with water, and I just like it wasn't like the ship was like exploding like a Call of Duty level, and you're like running through like it's just like, all right, it hit something, all right. It's starting to sink. All right, it's breaking in half. It's like
this, and it's not
bad.
Like what do you mean? Don't panic.
No, but like it was like it didn't happen like immediately. It felt like it was like
that's true.
It's like if you're at the airport and you're on those like walk paths that you can just stand on.
Yep.
And like you just see somebody just fall at the end of it, and you're like, well, I can just jump over the rail and not be in that whole collision of bodies that just somehow they like forgot, hilarious. Like they panic. It's like I have enough reaction time to be like, oh, okay, I could get out of this.
So like what would you do?
It's immediate.
What would you do? So it hits the iceberg, and you think this ship is going down. Like as a passenger, like what do you do?
I would what I would do is grab anything that could be bed wise, like mattresses, and just kind of like find a way to connect them together and make your own makeshift raft.
You think a mattress would float?
If you get enough of them together, like buoyancy, like you just connect them together.
I wonder.
And then
this
you
is
also
where we
use
need to cut to our side segment. Will it float?
will it float?
Pretty sure that was on David Letterman, actually. I think they had a segment of like, will it float? And you'd be surprised by that. But would a mattress float? Because that could have probably saved a lot of people. I think there's got to be enough mattresses around.
I feel like just because they were panicking, they're like, oh my God. Like, it's like how, like, the cold, like, it's easy to understand because you see how many people are like freaking.
Dude, I'm so sorry. I have to interrupt. I just Googled, would a mattress float? The first one is for Reddit. And the question from the post is, do mattresses float? And then context, it says, watching Titanic with a friend, speculating what we would do in that scenario. That's the first article that showed up when looking at this. When there are no boats left, we try to find something that could float, like a wooden bench or mattress. Google couldn't answer my question if mattresses could float or not. Please help. And the first one says right off the top, mattresses will sink. They will absorb all the water, making it this way. Yeah, a mattress is porous. It would absorb water, which would make it heavier, which would cause it to sink. So I think your first option.
Yeah, no, but it was connecting them all together.
Then it's even heavier.
It's like making like a raft. So like,
just because
the whole
it looks
thing's
like a
gonna
raft
float?
doesn't mean it floats.
Add some things in between.
Okay,
like,
so what's the option B?
I think you would definitely have enough time to like go. Like, all right, I'm gonna test this. Like, see how it floats, and then you offer a volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we're doing a science experiment. Like,
Just
you have nothing better to do. You have nothing better to do. You're probably gonna die. So let's. Why don't you try this?
That's so funny. The number of like lifeboats on that thing is maddening as well. Like, not nearly enough. Like, what?
Yeah.
What were they thinking for that? That's just ridiculous. Oh my gosh. What a thought experiment.
It's just the thing is like some people just don't think all the way through.
You
like,
wanted to use mattresses as a raft. Like, what do you mean? What else are they supposed to do?
You think like, oh, hey, we should have enough boats on this ship.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. Like the other day, my wife was like going like, oh, like this was such a complication and all that stuff, and I literally was like, why didn't you think of like the most logical, like easiest thing to do? And she's like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then it was funny because we had Mia in the kitchen with us, and then she just started laughing hysterically at that. So like whenever we want to get a picture with her now,
nice.
we just go
mind.
But like
mind
it just
blown.
started off. It just started off with like my wife didn't think of something so simple, and I was just like, I mean, to be fair, she is still pumping, waking up in every night, and then she's the type that stresses, whereas I'm like,
you've always been like that.
I stress, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this is just stupid. Like when you like catch yourself, like I catch myself and be like, why am I worrying about this?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, what's the logical thing to do? Like whether it's push it, like let it go and push it aside, like because I'm in the middle of a bathroom renovation, and so they have like lower ceiling portions.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't make sense because I was like expanding it. Like, I want to get rid of this, but they had it all connected. So the ceiling above the bathtub, which I wouldn't mind if it was lower, fell down because they had all the pieces connected to one. Versus like, all right, we have one section here, one section here.
Mm-hmm.
So then the whole thing, I was like, I'm just gonna give up right now. Like, it's like, why am I trying to worry about this? I'll get it when I have the time.
That makes you an ideal candidate for house projects, for renovations and stuff. Like if you can keep a cool head throughout those types of things and dealing with all sorts of hidden stuff behind walls and ceilings and stuff, that's maddening to me.
I mean, I was mad and maybe was using some language, but at the time I was like, I was able to at the end of the day walk away from it, and I'm like, all right, how can I make this be better? All right. I keep on throwing stuff in the basement, aka the garage, because like you know how you say collect stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm hoping that I can get that to a nice, more organized. Have the tool bench where I'm putting all the stuff away closer to the steps, versus like literally the opposite side of the steps, the stairs. And then when I'm putting parts and all that, I'm like, it just makes it easier for me. And then like thinking like, what will make my job be easier if this didn't go right the first time? You know, like,
yeah,
I'll hold off and get it done right versus rush and then it's not done right, and then I'm being told it's not straight or something like that.
It's almost like we've been there before, right?
That happened with the fence.
Fence isn't straight.
Building it. Well, to be fair, it is dodging roots, dodging trees, dodging big rocks in the ground.
That's the worst.
To dig the post, and I did it all by hand. So, and at least a third of it, I was building it while drinking. So,
What if you were dodging dinosaur bones and you don't know it? Like, what if? What do you think is underground? What do you think is under your house right now?
I think it would have been revealed because of the trees. Because I mean, it's wooded area. Like if I was if I was like, say, my house was built on a land where there were trees, and then they like took everything out, and even just leveled out the ground, and then put the houses in. Then I'd be like, oh, there could be something here because they took off layers.
Yeah,
but there's still original layers.
Yeah, you might have just missed it. You might have just missed it. You know. You know what freaks me out about trees next to houses is those root systems, man.
The roots. Oh yeah, and we have a septic.
Yeah,
and
what's up? Yes, like, dude, we don't think of this. I don't know. I don't like it.
I think about it.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm like, there's a lot of them, and they leave a lot of leaves. And
yes, don't like that either.
Like it's just enough where it's like I don't have a place to put them all.
So funny.
And you don't want to, like, you're like, oh, you could burn them. It's like, why do I want to, like, the basically the planet's already on fire, and what, I'm gonna set fire because I don't want to take these leaves to a place where they can compose and be recycled. Yeah,
you can make like something good out of it. I often think why we don't burn everything though, like just hot enough. I don't know. There's probably a good reason for it. I'm sure it's probably like
it's hot enough. Like this year, I'm like, it's January, and I'm like I can just go outside with a light
burn some trash,
like a light sweatshirt. Like it's so warm. It's warm enough down here, but it's like this feels so weird. Like I'm thrown off. I'm getting hot outside.
That's not happening around these parts, my friend.
It's called Canada.
Yeah. It's ice cold. Hey, so you're the first episode of 2023. I think this was by design.
I said your intention. January, so it was close to, like, oh, it's just been a year of being a dad and all that stuff, and just be like, oh, I want to be like able to see, like, oh, let me catch up for, like, also be able to say, like, oh, if there's anything that is worth noting, I probably would say it, and then I can go back and be like, this is where I was when you were one. Or turning one is where I was. So it's like a little nice like book reminder. Where it's
man. Like, little time capsule.
Little time capsule and all that stuff. Because like there's been times like, oh, I mean, I hate listening to myself, but when I'm like, I'm interested what happened like the first time we talked and what we were talking about. And it's just like, oh, like that's really interesting.
I think so too. And that's one of my favorite things about doing this. And after 7 years, it's like, yeah, some people have, like Johnathan Brown, literally growing up before our eyes. You know what I mean? God. Like, holy cow! Like, kid was like 14 or something. I think like something crazy like that when Bobby and I first started, and he was around then. It's like, holy, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, we were like, there was like the people that were like, oh, they were drinking age when they were here, and then there's people that were like,
gosh,
you're well below drinking age, and now you can drink.
Yeah, that's wild,
it's like,
man.
It's like, damn, we've been doing this for a while, whether it's listening or creating it. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, this is weird. And then you can even see some of the nicest part is you can see how much growth some things, like some people have gone through, whether it's like, oh, I'm not focusing on this anymore.
Yeah.
Or somebody like, was it Kyle said to Joe, you're like, you're being too much like Trump. You're talking too much like Trump now.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Joe's trying to do he's trying to do it for fun, but he's like, you're doing it way too much for the, like, it's kind of scary how often you're doing it, even if you're doing it for fun.
I love Joe's voices, man. He's so good at it. It only upsets me that he doesn't do anything with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I had this moment today, I tweeted about this, like for all the things that we want to do in life, and some you don't get around to. Some you just like something comes up and you never really get around to it. And there's countless things like that. And one of those things for me could have been podcasting. Like it could have been like, oh, I wanted to do it, and it just never really happened. I would have hated myself for that. You know, like if I woke up sometime in 2023 and I'm like, oh man, remember back in the podcast Beyond days, and all you want to do is like something like that. And then also like in the meantime, watch all these other small creators do it, and maybe the moment that I did it was the only moment I had. Like maybe 2018 it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't done it before that. Do you ever think about anything like that? Like not necessarily podcasting, but like
I think of it like even just because of podcasting, I was like, well, like there's these people, like why don't I actually use Twitter and actually talk to these people? Like they're like talking about it. Like so I become more social and like having like because like most of the people that like you end up having time to be with are like the people that you work with, and you're like, well, that I don't like that guy. Like he annoys me.
That's all I got.
Like, it's like I mean. And this guy Lester, that's like, he's like he doesn't understand that he's not good at his job, and he thinks he's like, oh, he's the best. It's like those kind of things. Is like, God, I have to work. Like I have to be like anything that work can negatively affect you. You automatically associate it with those people, and then but then like so I would have been just like, oh, like hanging out with my friends, but then like you kind of spread out because it's like, oh, we're not well, like I used to be with a bunch of guys when I worked at Home Depot when I was going to school, and then we all went like our own ways. We still like talk every now and then, but like it's not the same back then.
Yeah. But
then it was like, what? I have to make another new group like that in order to keep the same thing, or I like allowed myself to be like, yo, let's put myself out there and talk to these people, and now it's like. Talk with Todd Oxtra, talk with Mark Carabin.
Yeah,
like it's just like all these people that like you're like, I actually really appreciate that. Like I think it's been since at least 2015.
Yep.
Like when I really started listening, that I was like I started interacting with all these people, and then now I'm like comfortable talking to these people. Like it makes me more comfortable to be like, oh, you're a new person. Like, oh, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's at the same point, it's like there's also overload. But most of the time, it's like, oh, like I'm just glad that I feel like I can talk and be like, hey, guess what? Like, I'm gonna talk about whether like if I know somebody's going through the same experience where they lost somebody because they committed suicide. Like, I've been there, and like there's no point for people being alone. And if like when you evaluate, like, it's easier for me to come to. Like, I'm not just gonna hide in my own shell and hide my details. It's like kind of like wear yourself out there.
Yeah.
And then it can make a difference, or whether you're being open and being like, oh, like I love listening to JB's albums today. I was like, I want to show that appreciation.
It's
like, I want
really
to be able
good.
to do it.
It's really like he's always been good, but like this is
good.
Like, it's really great. Yeah, I'm so proud of him.
I'm so proud of this. Like I'm gonna put this on my Bluetooth speaker and be blasting it. And my coworker in my apartment, he's a DJ, and he's like, "Yo, that shit's fire."
Yes, I'm like,
we've like this kid, like he was like 14 and now he's like, and this was like almost 10 years ago. And now it's gonna be like he's doing this. It's like, that's freaking awesome to see. And like, would you know this if I didn't open up?
Right.
And be like, oh, like let me see, like, oh, like, don't be like, oh, well, I only like, because at one point I was like, I'll be listening, I want to hear the news about video games and all that stuff. Right. And now I'm up for the shenanigans of the people. Yeah. So like, one of the started listening because of Donnie's love for Jeff Grubb. Yeah. And then he went to Giant Bomb, and I tried listening to that before, and like it didn't hit me. And then now as an adult, like I have 1,000% appreciation for that kind of like podcast. Like, you're going about like the news, like, oh, here it goes, but then they go their own quirky way, and this like the zany family. I was like, it's almost like how you'd watch a family sitcom. Yeah. Like when podcasts feel like that, like how the PSVG like year in review, it was like it's the zany family getting together with their shenanigans. I was like, this is what I love. This is like so much enjoyable because especially because you're like, and it's even more enjoyable because I'm actually like around them. Like I'm in the Discords and seeing all this stuff. So you've seen the family dynamic where it's like, hey, you just watched this one random episode of the show, and you're like, I don't get the appeal. Like, well, it's a build up.
Yeah, like, that's the other kind of fascinating thing that makes me appreciate anybody who sticks around and listens, because I know what that journey is like, where you listen to an episode, even if somebody makes like a really strong recommendation, like you would love such and such a show, that's no guarantee that they're actually going to like stick around. They might test it out and they might hear me saying like, hey, and it's like, no, I'm out. Like I've also been very mindful about that, but I also checked out Giant Bomb years ago and it was like, not for me, but maybe I should check it out again. I don't know.
Because I think it's like a different crew, but like even just how they did their game of the year, like best game to play, like I think they were like saying like, even just like high or like just like,
I love those
games,
like different
how they did those different categories and all that stuff. There's zany because I think I probably started listening to them for like maybe probably around October.
Yeah,
and it's just like. And then when everybody goes on like a hiatus for Christmas and they come back and then you're like, yeah, like I feel like a dog. Like when the owner comes back home, it's like, yes, like they're back. Like everybody's coming back. PSVG.
Yeah. That was a fun episode to do with them too. And you're right. I think it's funny because I don't listen to Giant Bomb, but we are definitely getting feedback, and we also really have been enjoying getting more and more of the crew together from Carpool. Like that just seems, if you can make it work, I think fewer people do it, and it's not necessarily as obvious because it's hard. It's hard to like manage like a group of people like that. But if you have enough good chemistry, I think, and if you have a collection of people who've been podcasting for so long anyways, it ends up working out. But it's tough. I think the Iron Lords were the ones who kind of opened my eyes to what would happen if you had 6 people on a podcast. Like it doesn't
the whole
on
day's
paper
worth
doesn't
podcast.
Apparently, dude, like that show is. I remember Bobby told me about that for the first time. He's like, I was on the show, and Sean, you got to check this out. Like Bobby's recommendations for me were like 1,000%. Every time he recommended somebody, like he crushed it. He introduced me to Kato. He introduced me to Joe After Work, Holly, Toby, like everybody, you know. And I'm sure I'm missing. Well, maybe not 1,000, maybe not 100%. There was one guy who didn't really work out in the end, I don't think. But other than that,
was it Luke?
No, it was Pat. No, it was Pat.
Dude, I actually last week I was like, because everybody was like not producing podcasts. I was like, I'm gonna put some episodes of Bobby.
Yeah,
so I
good
looked
idea.
up like Nintendo Guru, and then it was like the first thing that popped up was Pat's video about him, and I'm like, dude, I got so mad to see
Me too.
when I first saw that. I was like, I saw it again. I was like, what? Like, I don't even know all the details of it,
Neither
but
do
I just knew that it was off. It was off, and it was something that was like, you could like say. Because the one thing I loved about Bobby is like if I'm not who you are and I piss you off, that's completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to tell you to fuck off so then you can feel like you can go away, I'll happily do that for you. but I'm not going to change who I am so that you like me.
Yeah.
Now, like the only really things I think he really changed, which was the parts that made it more fun trying to get him to curse when he was streaming and playing Mario Kart. Like you're like headhunting him. It's like I would definitely do that.
He had a realization Bobby had that realization quite early on that he realized it was Nintendo and maybe he should kind of act accordingly. You know? But he could have had a second channel like Bobby Unfiltered, and it,
Unfiltered, and hopefully that's where he would have had the Animal Crossing. Because I was like, you're playing this again.
Oh man!
I mean, I can understand people liking it, but at the same time, it's like, you're just liking this. You're just choosing this to be your thing. Like when Lincoln was like, all right, Pikmin is your thing. Like he's just doing all the Pikmin noise, running around, plucking things. It's like, like this is your thing now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Dude,
feeling that
both
about
kids are
Bob.
playing Hey Pikmin on their 2DSs right now, and I'm loving
Oh, you
it,
did the
dude.
hack?
Maybe. Yeah. Although I will say legit, like I actually own that game. Like Link, they were playing it on the cartridge. But yeah, I basically just like they're all right here. They're like literally just got done putting all these and more onto Lincoln. So what has he got on here? He's got Mario Luigi Dream Team, and this is just a couple of them. Mario Golf, of course, the actually good Mario Golf. Hey Pikmin is in there. Yoshi's New Island. Like my 3DS collection is legit.
Dude, the 3DS was. I can't believe so many people just knocked it because it was
like for kids.
Like they're thinking for kids. And I was like, dude, like you have some wisdom to gain by knowing the appreciation of what something that could be kiddish could actually bring joy. Like
I'm telling you, man,
you're doing it for joy. You're not doing it for like, oh, I want to. I'm just playing games because that's how I want people to see me by what games I play.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, if you can get past that, you're going to discover a whole new world, man. And what I love about like the way I'm finding my kids are playing games are like they try everything, which I think is awesome. Like I just see them do that with their tablets and stuff. So I've put stuff on there that they don't want right now, but one day they're gonna try out A Link Between Worlds and go like, oh, this is my new favorite game ever.
This is just like, Dad, is this why I named Link?
Yeah. Oh, he understands that part. Yeah, he definitely.
Oh, he understands that part.
He gets that, and I cannot wait for Ellie. Like Ellie doesn't. She doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't. She knows she's based on a character, but yeah, that's. I don't even know.
That's not this weekend, but next weekend.
I know, dude. I was talking to Cord about it, and I don't know how it's gonna work. Like, is it just gonna show up on HBO Max at like 7:00 or something? Like, I haven't really been interested in a show premiering on a stream service forever.
So you didn't get into Stranger Things?
No, not even a little bit. Like maybe the closest would have been Obi-Wan, and it was first thing in the morning on Wednesday, and I watched. It was like 6 episodes or whatever it was, and I watched that at the gym. That was it. Like,
I remember. I was like, I think you were doing it at the gym, but then you were saying you were running, so I was like,
no,
I don't know if
bike.
you were running at the gym.
Yeah, I was on a bike. I tried one time doing it on a treadmill, and I can't look like on a screen, and then like me running would make the phone kind of like jumble and jiggle up and down or whatever, and I couldn't do it. And treadmills and I were not getting along right now. I don't know. I don't think it's good for me.
The only thing my wife can do is like we got a piece of equipment that's like the whole like you're swinging your arms and it has the handles and then your legs are swinging. Like you're not on the actual, like you're not
like the elliptical.
It's like almost elliptical, but it's the platform. Instead of you're actually lifting your feet up, your feet just stay stationary.
Gotcha.
Moves. But then you can also do the arm thing. And so we got one of those from somebody that got that during the pandemic, and then they're like, "Oh, the gym's open now. Like I need to do the whole gym thing."
Yeah, that's what I've done.
They didn't care about, so they gave us that, and then nice mug. That's a beautiful mug.
I love this mug. Hopefully, it'll last a little longer. This Donkey Kong barrel, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I did get a thermodynamics lesson from Seth earlier this week.
I was hearing that. I was like, thermodynamics.
Oh, it's porcelain. Like, whatever, Seth. Shut up.
Yeah. And so, like, with my wife and just all the, because she's had, that'll never get old.
I have to,
even though I didn't really enjoy that movie.
Yeah, doesn't hold up. I actually I was sorting a bunch of my movies in this closet over here, and I got rid of a bunch because I just still don't have room for them all. And most of what I got rid of were comedies because I just don't think I think most of them don't really hold up.
Yeah, I mean,
over time.
There's like certain category of movies that will be like, all right, this is timeless. This is like, all right, this is like, it has to be the right time, but you can still go back to. And this is like, I might be able to watch bits and pieces of you. Like, you might just be like, I will just watch the good clips of this movie because now we have like people just post that stuff.
I still want to watch movies. I still want to. I was actually thinking about it today. How can I can I buy like a Blu-ray player for my PC? Because I might do that if I can.
I think you can because I know there's at least external ones that you can probably plug in.
Ooh, that would work out really good because I could hook that up to my laptop. I could have as
And
another
then you can
screen down here.
you can make sure it can do a burnable one. So then if you have stuff that you want to burn onto discs, so you can even do that. It could be multifunctional. You always gotta bring the multifunctional to get something. It'd be like, oh, like you can do this for this and this. And it's like, oh well, that makes sense. Why would you not get that? Like the PS2.
In the world. I'm just looking at this has got to be a better search. This is a DVD. I searched for Blu-ray because I was excited here. It's like external drive for $30. I'm like, there's no way. I want to see how much this is. Blu-ray player for laptop. External. Yes. Let's see. Amazon. External 3D Blu-ray DVD drive burner. I don't want a burner. That's $159. External Blu-ray DVD drive. I don't like when they say Blu-ray DVD. It's like,
well, because
I guess it does
those
both.
people that if it can do Blu-ray, it can do DVD. But if it does DVD, it doesn't mean that'll do Blu-ray. But then when people say like, "Well, I have DVDs," does it do like they have to put that in there because there's the people that want the name of it to say exactly what it's going to do. Like a VCR player, it's going to play the VCR. The VCR winder is going to rewind it.
Yeah, you're right about that. This looks like it's $100. External Blu-ray drive compatible with DVD Blu-ray drive, portable 3D Blu-ray burner. This is all like SEO stuff, I think. $93 Canadian. I don't know what the brand is.
So that's like a nickel for me, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned the external thing. I can look into this a little bit more, but that might be something that I want to do, just to have movies on.
And you might not even need to look on Amazon. You might be able to get something at like a Best Buy or whatever.
Yeah, I just go pick it up. Or have it delivered to my house whenever it arrives, because I don't really need it immediately.
Yeah. So it's just, sometimes it's like, oh, Amazon, you can just search for everything on here. And then at the same time, it's like, I could have probably gotten like better quality or better price, but I just stuck with what was on Amazon because, I already paid for
convenient
that service.
Because I ordered it while I was on the toilet or before I went to sleep. Like I just had this like kind of romanticized version of some nostalgia where what if I had like a screen in this room that was just like, it was playing movies all day, maybe some audio, a little bit of volume, not much, but basically like a video store, like recreating like the mom and pop video shop kind of experience where like, who even knows who decided what movies those were going to be all day.
Yeah.
And just like someday I choose while I'm working, I'm going to pick like 4 movies or whatever it is to take up the 8 hours of my day. And that's just like on. Yeah. I don't know why. It seems charming to me.
It does definitely sound charming. Like that's like, I want to be able just to like, cause I know I would love to rewatch things and all that stuff. Like I want to rewatch The Mandalorian before season 3 comes out.
I've never seen
it.
I haven't seen any of it. Probably should do that.
I would think you would definitely enjoy it. I don't know why you wouldn't, because it's Star Wars and space, and it's him explore. Like it's not just like, oh, we're on Tatooine again. I mean, they are on Tatooine, but
well, maybe I'll watch it tonight. Should I watch it? Like really? Stuff. Like Mandalorian? I mean, is this the Baby Yoda one?
The Baby Yoda one.
Yeah, and
it's just that character. Like I'll be like, I want to play a video game. It's like, it's definitely giving me the vibes of like Geralt of Rivia. Like it's just like you want to follow this person's journey, and because it's not just like he's doing just one big epic thing. It's sometimes it's like the small things of like saving a village or all that stuff. And it feels like it only gets better, and then it becomes the best part of Book of Boba Fett as well. So it's just like that was
There's
that epic
so
moment.
much, dude. There is so that the reason isn't interest. Like that's definitely not. Yeah. It's not like I wouldn't like it. It really is just a matter of time.
Time is the worst enemy of anyone.
I know.
And you're like,
sleep. Requiring sleep sucks. Like, why do we have to do that?
It's like, why can't I just like be able to just close my, like be watching something, but then also be like resting, and then I get the same feeling as if I was just laying in the same position.
Totally.
It's just the brain and hardwiring and like how your computer needs a reset.
Yeah. Like we're all, let's get AI and we'll have some sort of singularity. We'll download or upload our minds to a computer or whatever. Like, I feel like we're skipping a step. Like that's still too futuristic. How about we just like find a way where we require sleep less? Not like we just get used to being sleepless, but like legitimately maybe you eat more or maybe you eat more. Maybe that's what you do. Yeah. You guys have Eat Mores? Do you have the chocolate bar? Eat More?
No.
Oh, I got to bring you guys Eat More. That can't be a thing. That can't be a only Canadian thing. Eat More? Oh, it's delicious.
I mean, you guys do have much more music.
Much more music. Yeah, I don't know if it's still around, but yep, much more music.
But
we
like,
make that a shirt.
Gaming convention definitely sounds Canadian.
Yeah.
But I know that's
Eat More.
Eat More.
That's so true.
It's like, so true. It's like whoever came up with that was probably the same company that came up with the name for Eat More.
That's so good. Eat More was like as a kid, that was like my favorite chocolate bar. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Holy crap, man. Okay, so I got to go buy a Blu-ray player for my laptop. I've got to watch The Mandalorian. I've got about 6 books in front of me I've got to read. I've got to finish The Last Ronin.
I want to read more too.
Do you have goals? Do you have like New Year's resolutions or anything for the year?
It's literally just... It's try to make the most of my time, but not feel like I am a failure if I don't. Like that's literally the goal, is because especially this past year, because with my wife, she was having some health issues, and I think after this pregnancy and just she was having some complications, we're feeling like maybe her hormone levels are so messed up. Maybe that's why we had to go with IVF for getting pregnant, because like she would just have like this like she was doing a lot better when she was pregnant and her hormones were being regulated, because it was like the pregnancy, like your body was like, this is what you have to do for the baby and all that stuff. But then when she got off of that, it was like, oh no, like this is like a complete, like it almost felt like it was like, all right, we don't know what to do. Like we don't know what's supposed to be the base point.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it was just dealing like it was like
stressful.
Oh, my wife just all of a sudden like thinking like I could work on this bathroom, and then it's like my wife got sick, and then just like the things that got in the way was just like, it's like sometimes I'm not going to be able to get to that because life gets in the way. So just like hope to be like, I want to try to be more mindful of getting stuff done, and maybe like taking that time and be like, I could like, I'm going to sit down, but put a timer on so I'm like 30 minutes, and then I'm done eating, and then just go try to get some stuff done. And if I do have more time left, then it could be afterwards versus just like, but I would just want to sit down now, like kind of beat that feeling, because next thing I know, I could be needed elsewhere, or baby's having a fever of 104, and like we're taking her to the hospital kind of thing. Yeah. So any moment. Like, so like any moment, it's just be like, all right, just kind of try to get what you can do, but not realize that things are going to get in the way. Yeah, I love that. It's simple because it's one thing, but it's so dynamic, and it's actually quite complex and hard to do. Like that's a fully fleshed out resolution, man. I love that. It's funny because I think my wife and I like kind of came up with like the same thing of like trying to do that. Yeah. Without even talking about it. And so like even just like this week, like I think we were just like, all right, this year like we're gonna try kicking that in gear. But sometimes she's like throwing a curveball with work where it's like the boss, the owner of the company is like asking her to do this thing, and she's like, I'm just trying to fix this or try to take care of this, and it's like, okay, well I'm gonna try to do this and like be communicative, like this is what we can try to do, and if you need something, let me know now, so then we can be moving forward. You guys are a good team, man. I love that. Not everything's perfect. Yeah, but you complement each other well, I think. But the thing is definitely sometimes like I definitely have seen like, I'm not thinking to communicate. Or like, or part of like I'm seeing like, one of the things that like really irked me is you didn't like tonight. My wife wasn't communicating that like, we're just she thought like just sending a text was fine when I was driving, and I ended up bringing the baby to the bar. And it's like, oh, they were just getting appetizers when she like last texted me, but because I was driving, I didn't see it. And then we're just like, all right, hopefully the baby will be fine being in the bar till she's done with her food with her coworkers and all that stuff. So it's like,
wait a second, the baby is at a bar?
Yeah, I've taken the baby to more bars than I've taken her to doctor's appointments.
I feel like there's a scene out of a movie. Like, you brought a baby to a bar, I guess they don't smoke in bars anymore, so
no,
it's just a restaurant.
Different than
yeah.
Even just taking your kid to a restaurant when they were smoking there, like imagine all that when we like.
You just sit in the non-smoking section. That will always just fascinate me that was a thing.
But I don't know if there was always a non-smoking section.
Not always.
There's some places where you could like you'd be like, oh, like I remember my mom like, oh, go put our name in for non-smoking. It's just like,
right, that's what I mean. And
people
the thing
never
is,
even think about it.
But the thing is, like with this, maybe some restaurants were different, but as far as I can recall, most were like, it was just parts of the. It's not like they were sealed off. It's not like you were in a different room or anything. You were just on the different side of the room. So non-smoking just meant that the table next to you wasn't smoking. But the area, like, it's not like the smoke just stops because you're in like non-smoking. It's just hilarious to me, man. But in lounges and bars, it would be separate, and that ended up happening for a little while. But that's our like seatbelts, like for our parents or whatever. Like, oh, my cars didn't even have seatbelts. Like for us, it's like, they smoked in they smoked in planes. You know, like that's wild. That doesn't sound like a good idea, even if you are a fan of smoking cigarettes.
It's like,
or who knows what they smoked on planes? They smoking pipes? Like, I don't know, man.
This is artificial air at some point. Like it's
like Spaceballs. The canned air.
Baseball.
Like Perry air. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Holy cow. Well, you have that's a beautiful New Year's resolution, man. Just like, it's a nice balance. Try to be ambitious, try to get things done, but if stuff happens, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, because I think it'll definitely help not be fresh. Like, it'll help, like, well, I think everybody wants to just reduce stress, and then you being worried about it is just making it more, like...
Right, but it's not like, it's not too much one way. It's not too much like, I've got to do everything. That sounds very stressful. But it's also not, like, defeatist.
Like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah, like, nothing matters. Right.
Like, just throw all the papers in the air. Like, who cares? We lost the game. Like, kind of like mentality. It's like,
that's so funny. Have you ever been that attached to like sports or anything where you just like, you're screaming at the TV or you're like, it ruins your night or your weekend or something?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think sometimes when it was definitely like because you probably seen it with NHL. It's like, I think I got pissed off. Like, it was like the Pittsburgh versus Nashville, and just like it felt like I got annoyed with how they were like, felt like they were micromanaging, like they were like looking under like a super microscope to be able to go like, oh, this was an offsides call for the for the Predators, and they just felt like it tilted the whole game towards the Penguins, and I was just like, you guys were doing that because you like, I was like, this is freaking rigged. Like, that was like the only time. But my mom would get like that, literally, because I think you shared this. I've completely forgot that I wrote that for the Pants Patreon podcast about like the last conversation I had with my mom was getting the Mets game on, and the night before that, was the last night that we saw her. My aunt and my cousin came to visit her, and so my aunt and my cousin, my sister, are both nurses. So they were talking more about the details. And then I just see, like, I put the game on for my mom, and my mom was, like, yelling at the tablet about the Mets. And my cousin's just, like, looking at her like, isn't she supposed to be dying? And I was like, yeah, but it's the Mets.
Gosh.
Like, it was, like, it felt, like, so weird. Like, before, like, my mom didn't care, and then all of a sudden, like, they're, like, it almost gets to a certain point where you're like, am I the adult now? And my parents are, like, the ones getting upset about this stuff. Or, like... It's like before, like, oh, in college, I would like wake up at like noon, do a couple of things, and then at 2 o'clock start drinking. Like that's like some people's parents are doing that now. Like,
Yep.
like, oh, it's like what?
Well, and we're gonna retire and play video games all day.
Dude,
We're gonna
those
be
retirement homes are gonna be
I'm
the
telling
best.
you, dude, the LAN parties at these places, like.
Dude,
Let's just retire now. Let's just all get in there. Like, let's get into assisted living.
no, Nintendo needs to start investing into retirement homes and then convert them over for us when we get and then it's like
That's a great. If we ran Nintendo, I think that's what we would do. And it's funny because didn't Atari, weren't they going to get into like hotels?
They started hotels. Yeah, I think they did a couple. And
Wrong move, dude.
Didn't hear anything.
Especially
I think COVID
first,
hit too. They like were starting building, and then when they would do it, it was like COVID hit.
The worst. That's
like,
probably why. That's probably why it happened. The universe was like, no, Atari, you're not doing hotels.
Like,
you should have done assisted living. Mm-hmm. Atari doing assisted living or something like that. It like the timing of it would have been perfect too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it sound like if you played Atari, you're probably 75 years old or something at this point. Like, or I don't even know. At what point do you go into assisted living? Like maybe 80s, I guess. I don't know. It just depends. Who knows?
It just depends on your condition because sometimes
so.
it's just people that have limited physical capability and none who's ever around that family can't be around all the time for what they need.
Yeah, I guess so. So we should probably figure out how to make this a thing because we can spend the next like 30 years doing this.
But what we have to do is whatever we do, we have to have like whatever the consoles be like the see-through colors. Like everything's gonna be like it from like the 90s, like the
Mac. Mm-hmm.
Those Mac computers.
Yes. Oh, the iMacs. Those were great.
Those were like they're like this is awesome.
Like seafoam green and purple and that's great.
Like that's like the one thing is like why did like do you know how they say like it's back in fashion now? It's like why was this like why did people think that this should be out of fashion? Like not continue this.
Minimalism eventually takes over at some point, and then flashy looks better than that. I think you see it in logos, but I'm no expert on any of this stuff. But.
What was it like the Street Fighter logo?
Street Fighter is going to be great this year. I'm just calling it right now. I think it's going to get a lot of people back in. I don't know why I think that.
Because wasn't the last one just only on
PlayStation?
PlayStation?
Yeah, Street Fighter 5 is only on PlayStation. Yeah, so I think this could do it.
It's gonna be the year.
I have high hopes.
It's gonna be the year of video games.
The year 2023, the year of video games. That should be. Do you have video game resolutions? Do you have like endeavors for this year?
I think it's just gonna be try to do a healthy balance of more old than new. Just be
interesting. What a year to do that. There's no new good games coming out this year.
Well, even if like you're really wanting to do it, it's like all right, nowadays it's like I'm trying to be more limited on spending, so then I can be like, all right, I'm not being like I have a kid I need to take care of, so it's like if you're gonna be doing like spending money on this, like could we be using this more like because we're not trying to get stuff for like her for a birthday party, we go like experiences, like we want to be doing stuff, and so I'm like this game is gonna still be here, so. Like if I really want to play, like there's of course there'll be some that I want to play day one. Like by chance, Tears of the Kingdom is coming out the day that we start vacation.
Ooh.
So obviously there's gonna be times where the baby's gonna be needing to like lay down for a nap and all that stuff, or just be inside. And then so I'm gonna be like Katniss Everdeen, like I volunteer.
Yes. You reminded me of something that I actually want to add to my New Year's resolutions. I think Kevin Ainsworth and I were chatting about this a little while ago.
You mean the guy with no job?
I mean, which is weird about what I'm about to say because I was talking to somebody, it might have been Mitch, about taking a day off like once a year for a video game release. And Kevin was like, I do that all the time. And so like, I want to do that. I want to take a day off or like pick a game and take it off work, take it off, like make arrangements with Chelsea just to like, because I could probably do that anyways. I could probably, because
Yeah.
I work in the basement anyway, and nobody bothers me down here. Like, everybody
Your
understands.
birthday, you took off.
It was like my birthday, yeah. But like,
Yeah.
does it have to be my birthday? But I like have a day like that. Just
So 2 birthdays.
yeah, like 6 months before, which is, I guess that would be coming up pretty soon. That'd be the end of this month, which is happens to be Chelsea's birthday is at the end of this month. So I don't think that's gonna fly. But I think a New Year's resolution I have is to take off at least one day for like maybe it's Breath or Tears of the Kingdom. It could be that.
Because like when the pandemic hit, like that day, like when I got furloughed was the day Animal Crossing came out. So like,
my gosh!
By chance, I just woke up early that morning and like started
but
playing. But also,
Doom came out the same day. Doom Eternal came out the same day.
I really wanted that crossover so much, and then,
oh man,
Nintendo is just not doing the stuff that they need to do, yet they still survive, and we still kind of love.
And you're
them.
all part of the problem, and I can't do it again. I can't do it. I've already done this enough this week. I can't get on a Nintendo rant.
I'm actually really appreciating like people like you and Donnie that are like, I'm not enjoying it. Like, this
speaking
is
the truth,
not great. Like, it's not because there's some people that are just like, oh, like you feel it's like clickbaity, but it's just like, dude, I'm just not happy. Like, you're like feeling like, oh, I can like, I hear that differently than if you were like trying to say it for like clicks. And all that because I'm like, I'm feeling your emotion. Like, I don't want to be saying this. Like, and then when you
it doesn't
have that,
feel
like,
good.
You had that moment of like, well, like even just like the talks about how the new Fire Emblem game, like Donnie's like, I think I'm back in. Like he's like that means like you're not just like fake. Like, you're just like, oh, you're seeing something that's speaking to your heart about it. So it's like, oh,
yeah, it's a tricky mistress, this Nintendo. Nobody knows what to deal about this.
But even just like when you guys are like, hey, like we literally make content playing the new stuff and talking about it, it's like, and when you're like willing to say like, oh, I don't want to deal with it, it's like I'm upset with this. It's like, like maybe I can just like, maybe it'll get better, and then like sometimes it feels like the waiting game's gonna actually play out at times. Yeah,
I was thinking that when you were talking about that before, that it really, it doesn't make much sense to only buy games on day one. Like, it actually makes very little sense to do it. It makes only the sense as far as you're going to be there along with everybody else. If that matters, apparently that matters a lot to people. But like generally, those games are buggy. They cost more than they will ever cost. Like, why not wait 6 months? They'll be half price. They'll have patched it. Maybe there's a Game of the Year edition that comes out at the end of the year or something. Like, there's so much. There is a ridiculous amount of incentive to wait. And none of us do it.
It feels like, oh, patience actually is beneficial, but
we don't take the bait.
We eat the hype.
We eat it. We eat it up, man. Holy cow! Well, just
and see, it's like Pokemon example. Like, they made 10 million copies, and they.
And that's the game, dude. Every time I make a stand about a game, it sets a record. Animal Crossing, I'm like, absolutely not. Best game ever. Pokemon, I still bought Strikers, which is probably why it still did pretty well. And thanks, by the way, for continuing to represent carpool gaming. You might be the only one at this point.
I haven't played it for a bit.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I want to get back into it, and it's just like the enemy of time is like, well,
the enemy of time.
The enemy is time.
Yeah,
it's like not having enough of it, but it's at the same point. It's like, I see that, I'm like. The guilt gone away, because it's like, oh, the moment that I think what makes it easier is the moment that I am spending is like, oh, I'm spending time with Mia. It's like, oh, like this is great. Like,
yeah, it's better.
I have the baby that like will literally like try to get like dive out of my wife's arms to get in my arms. So
enjoy it, man. That's awesome.
I like okay, it's worth it not playing some games.
I get like 1 out of every 45 nights, Ellie will go, yeah, I want Daddy to put me to bed. Like, that's
I love hearing that, though. Because, like, it's like...
Oh, it's the best. Yeah, like, tonight's the night. Mm-hmm.
And, like, the nights that Mia's, like, wanted to sleep in my... Like, just fall asleep on my wife's arms, like, on the couch, I go, like... I, like, see that, and I go, like, dim the light so it's a little bit more comfier. And then, like, anytime that, like, sometimes she'll, like, start to move and, like, look around, and, like, dive underneath the nearest furniture so like she doesn't
Yes.
see me, and then she's like, so it's like I love that like people can have those moments even though it's far and few in between.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it's like I want you to enjoy what I enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I have the benefit of enjoying it every day, whereas you get it a lot less.
That's the best, and especially if you enjoy it. That's good. What do you? Speaking of time, what do you do after this? So if we wrap up, like, do you watch a movie? Do you play a game? Do you go to bed?
Finish beer. I will probably see if wife wants snack.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably go to sleep because tomorrow morning we're gonna go take the dog to the groomers. Then I'm gonna come back and probably do that with the baby. See if that'll let the wife sleep because she was on her feet most of the day. So let her like get that rest.
Good man.
We're gonna go see family. We're gonna see a friend and her family before we go to a birthday party.
Ooh.
And then, so it's like literally like what we're doing is just going like just moving around from one point to another. And then Sunday's like I want to try to get some stuff done, but at the same time it's like we just went through the whole holiday to like going and seeing family and all that stuff, and then doing something for New Year's. It's just like kind of want to just do nothing, but at the same point I'm like, but sometimes like if I get stuff done, it's like if I didn't be like I push it back to later, be like save it for like the time of like I'm really relaxing or doing nothing is when I really need it. Then it's like but I got this done because I was like just maybe didn't get it done as fast, but I did work on it, and then now I can actually feel less guilty or all that stuff and not be worrying about all of it. It's just
now you're sounding like me, Brennan. That's you got to have that second half of your resolution, man. Just relax.
Yeah,
everything's fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
But like, just like,
play some games.
Like, do I want to play? Like, yeah, it's just like,
what would you fire up?
The game.
What would you fire up? What's on the go right now?
I'm trying to finish God of War.
Nice.
I want to finish that so I can listen to all those spoiler casts.
Right? Yeah, I had to skip all of them.
It was like, I gotta skip this. I gotta skip this. Mm-hmm. And then like my feeds was like, if they post enough episodes, like then they just automatically delete that because it's
right.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, so I gotta mark it like I want to come back to those, and then it's like, because what I was wanting to do was do replay. I'm replaying Falling Order, so on my G Cloud, I could do that X Cloud at work and just play freaking awesome.
Nice.
There. I'm like getting the story done.
Yeah.
So it's getting me hyped for that, and then I wanted to play Horizon, play that, and then the DLC would come out. But I'm like annoyed because that's only
you can skip Horizon.
PS5.
You can skip that.
I might, but I already had it.
It'd be fine. Yeah,
I think I got it like real cheap on Amazon.
I'm just poking.
I love how people are like somebody said like I feel validated by showing. Like,
I think it was Shelby. Shelby's like speaking the truth. I'm like yes, but no, not a popular opinion.
But it doesn't have to be popular. That's the nice thing.
Dude, that's why I'm not really don't really care. I didn't like, and it's so funny because people be like, oh, what an Xbot, you just don't like Sony's exclusive. Like, dude, PlayStation gave me that game. Like,
yeah, like I didn't spend money on it.
Yeah, no, it's the same deal with PlayStation, but that's a whole other story. Well, dude, I hope you get time to play games. I want that for everyone. I want it for myself. I'm watching days like melt off the calendar and just like I still haven't really gotten to anything, but soon, and we'll be taking days off.
You know what? I actually have a request that you need to. Yes, we'll go outside in a little bit. You need to beat Breath of the Wild for Fallen Tears of the Kingdom.
It's not happening. No, because I would have to start over. I'm not picking it up from. I've got one beast or whatever to finish.
Just send me your Nintendo login. I'll load up your file from the cloud. Just get you to the point where you just have to just like.
Because I can't walk around on this. I can't walk around on this volcano. It's too hot, and I'm not figuring.
I'll get you all the stuff. I'll get you all the stuff, so then you can beat that. Because I think I have $5 on the line.
I'm good. It's so funny because it's like I haven't beaten it. But I have 100 hours into this game.
Dude, it's like if somebody I don't mind if somebody says like, oh, I played Breath of the Wild and I just never beat it, but like I just had such like you can have your own adventure with it. Like not many games can you say like I played this and had my own adventure with it where I didn't beat the game. It's like that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good.
It's like what can you do that with a movie? Can you do that with a book? Like no, you can't just like really just
books. I've been hearing more and more people say that you should do that. Like treat it more like I'm hearing people talk about books the way that we talk about games and the way they were right now. It's like, yeah, like there is this, especially with books. The assumption is when you say I read this book, you assume somebody meant that they read every single page, but maybe there's a different way to go about it. Like maybe you skip a chapter here and there, depending on the style of book or whatever. But yeah, like video games really are the one thing that it's actually quite rare, almost insanely rare for you to be a 100% completionist, that you've done everything in the game. Which begs the question, why build it all? But it's because they all take their different path. And Breath of the Wild is a great example of that. Like, what direction did you choose to jump off the Great Plateau? Like, I landed on a Lionel or whatever they're called. Like, that was my the first thing I did. I was like, oh, what's this guy? And he just, like, smoked me. So that was my journe.
He was like, definitely, you're from Cobra Kai, no mercy.
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. Well, I hope we get some gaming time in, and yeah, man. Well, thanks for reaching out and making this the first episode of the year. You locked this in. You locked it in early. I really appreciate that.
I think we talked about it before. I was like, yeah, I was thinking about this, and they're like, yeah, hit me later. And then I was like, I'm not gonna remember. So I did a scheduled text message to send you.
Nice.
And then I didn't like you don't get a notification that text message finally sends. But then, like, I get the response for it. I was like,
is that what that was? You said I'm still good for Friday? That's so funny because I think that I had mentioned you on the Pants podcast this week. So I thought you were responding to that.
No, the first one that set it up. Like, I was like, oh, I was thinking about this. And you're like, oh, you should hit me up when it gets closer.
Oh, I got you.
And so that one that was, like, sent probably a couple months ago.
That's less cosmic.
Like, I just get a message of, like, what did the baby text Sean?
Nice. That's amazing.
I was like, have you as Connery Pants? So it's like, I don't accidentally like, text you instead of my brother because I sent you something the other day. I was like,
something. What anime was it?
Avatar.
About?
Avatar.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I don't care about Avatar, but like, thank you. That's cool.
I was like, oh yeah, now that makes sense why you don't care. Like my younger brother would have been just like, really? Like we went and saw that live action movie and we were like, it was disappointed, but at least we were disappointed together. Right?
Hopefully the popcorn was good. All right. Brandon Myers, do you want people to find you on the internet? _wintergamer, http://Twitter,
I've been loving that you've been doing that. I was like, so stupid. I was like, when you do that, I automatically go like, oh, Sean's going to be on that commercial about like trying to not have you be your parents.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
It's like just trying to train you to not be your parents. Is like you're doing that. Like you're definitely like that would definitely be one of those categories. Like you don't have to do that. You don't have to leave a voicemail. It's
like my dad signs off text messages like -dad or from dad. Like he'll sign off a text message.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a letter. Like you don't pay postage for this thing. But
so I do appreciate it in group messages when I don't have that person's number. Like I know who you are now.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I've had my dad's number for a couple of years at this point. Yeah. So not necessary, Dad.
I mean, do you remember it by heart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not.
That's one thing that people don't have to do.
No, like that's how long it's been. Like he's had that number for, and actually it's sort of like a different version of the house line that he used to have before that. So very, very, very memorable. Yeah. Yeah. The Winter Gamer on Discord, on Twitter, first episode of 2023. Always so supportive, my friend. Be there for Extra Life this year. Plan on it.
We'll definitely try. I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, I'm going to do part of it where I'm going to try to do my fundraising earlier in the year, and then
I'm going to get ready pretty soon. Yeah,
go up with the baby, have it be like a little trip.
Totally.
Even if it's just going to be a daddy-daughter day, and just send the wife to do a spa day that weekend.
Whatever you need to do, man. That'd be great to meet her.
I'll go get some sleep.
Yeah, bring the air mattress.
I want to share her. Like,
yeah, man. Oh, that'd be great. That's yeah. Do that. Well, we'll have you on the show before that, and of course we'll be chatting all the time. Yep. But go play some games. Go get some snacks. Go.
Let the dogs out.
Go let the dogs out. Thanks for being with me tonight, man. It's been fun. I have a catastrophic update for you all. Yesterday we were celebrating my dad's 74th birthday, and right after he blew out the candles and all the heated wax of the candles were all there. It's just kind of, you know how a pool's there? I can't remember who it was, but somebody went and grabbed the cake to take it away and cut it up into the pieces, but it slipped a little bit and the cake kind of fell. Cake was fine, but the heated wax flew and hit the table, hit my hand a little bit, which burned, and it was fine, the little burn. But the catastrophe is that it landed on my phone. And I thought that this was going to be a really nice and easy situation to take care of. You just kind of like scrape it off. I thought maybe there'd be some satisfaction, like you get a little peel going. This is awful. And anybody who's watching the video, you might have seen me actually even kind of start to pick away at this. Like when I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at my phone, but I'm not like scrolling the Twitter or anything. I'm scraping away this wax situation. And the problem that has just arisen since the last time I recorded, like when I was recording the intro to now here, the outro. Hi, welcome to the outro. I have now started to peel away the screen protector, so that's got to go. And I guess that, you know what, that's going to make short of this whole situation. I'll just put a new one on, and that's where most of the wax is anyways. But some of it's in crevices. Nobody wants wax in crevices, I don't think. Anyways, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you so much to Brendan Myers. You could follow him and let him know that you enjoyed the show in the Discord, _wintergamer. Also on Twitter as well. And if you like the show, you can support us at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Leave a comment at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. We're carpool gaming everywhere. And I mentioned the ultimate producers, the platinum producers, just a little tease, because I need to figure out when kind of more formal announcements are going to go out. I've contacted ultimate and platinum producers with a little something. Maybe we'll just say that. We've got some news coming for Patreon, and that's all I'll say about that. Hope you guys are good. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. The other thing I wanted to mention about the show, by the way, not by accident that it hasn't been weekly since the Drella show. It's not going to be weekly, and maybe I'll make more of a formal announcement there for a little while. It just can't be. It can't be weekly. I'll figure something out. But I hope that you can sit and enjoy this. I hope that because nobody rushes to listen to these, so you have some time for these episodes to exist. And they close always with a celebration of Bobby Paul's the late great Nintendo guru. So have a listen to this. Thank you so much to Josh Stapleton for these clips. And I'll see you guys at the next episode. Okay, bye.
But speaking of which, there's a documentary on Netflix called High Score.
I'm hearing about this. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
It is amazing.
Is it?
Six episodes?
Yeah.
6 episodes. It starts off with the Atari, goes into the NES, goes into Sega, goes into Squaresoft, goes into the arcade scene with Street Fighter. Like, it's basically the history, and shows like 30 to 40 minutes about all these different companies and how they came about. And
each one of those beats is like is an episode. Like
yes.
Each one that you said, like Atari is an episode. Street, like I would love to watch the Street Fighter one, man. That would absolutely bring me back.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And you forget too that, like you talked about Kirby earlier. You forget that. You forget that.
Sorry.
Nintendo got sued by Universal because of King Kong.
And Donkey Kong. Yeah.
And the reason why they won was a lawyer named John Kirby. And that the homage and the payment was they made the character
really?
Yes. They made the character Kirby because he saved Nintendo by that lawsuit.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Because
what a great story.
What you find out is he
did you know that before this
I heard it, but I forgot about it.
Oh,
the documentary refreshed my memory on it.
Well, the reason I asked, not to test like your knowledge base, but like the reason I ask is because there is like this growing volume of encyclopedic knowledge that is kind of coming to the forefront through like books and everything like that. And it's like in some cases you can kind of go like, well, I've heard these stories before.
Yeah.
But like definitely like if I'm gonna check this out, it's kind of like, yeah, there's things that you probably didn't even know before.
There's a lot of stuff.
So I definitely didn't know that Kirby story. Yeah. That is awesome.
It's awesome. It's good stuff.